Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Jeremy Scott Fitness Podcast Radio Show, coming to you on this Sunday, July the 6th, 2025. Hopefully it finds you staying safe and staying sweaty all at the same time. On today's episode, we are wrapping with Dr. Emily Parke. But before I harass her, a couple quick housekeeping things. One, the Jeremy Scott Fitness app, we are wrapping up the Summer Metcon Challenge. Those guys just got done yesterday. What we did is we loaded this old school 34-day to fit program in there for you guys. That is kind of a remix program with myself, Tommy Baker, Alexia Clark, Nikki Metzger, and Ben Novak. It's free in there for app members, so if you guys want to check it out, jeremyscottfitness.app, you guys will get a week for free. That program will live in there. The Summer Metcon we'll probably let run for another month or so before we do the updates. And then obviously you guys know all my weekly stuff is updated every Sunday. So if you guys want to hop in there, jeremyscottfitness.app, grab a week for free on me, and you're rolling. On top of that, real quick, shout out to my homies at AG1. You guys know the one thing I take every single day and I never miss. If you don't eat enough fruits and vegetables, and let's be real, none of us do, this is just the thing to help cover the gaps in your nutrition. You still got to eat real food, obviously, as much as you can. But what you can't do, this will kind of help you guys cover what you are missing. For me personally, the next gen version, there's more probiotics in there, more digestive enzymes for the gut health portion. Obviously, it's nice to be able to take a dump every day and be a healthy human. If you guys want to try it 100% for free, hit me up. I'll have Monica send you some travel packs right to your front door. I don't care what state or country you live in. We'll get you them. If you like it, we can hook you guys up with a year's supply of free vitamin D3 and K2 and 5 free travel packs with order 1. So link is in the show notes for all that stuff. drinkag1.com/Jeremy Scott to get the free stuff today, or hit me up for the free samples. Everything else you guys can find in the show notes below. Obviously, our friends at Substance for the creatine we take, my homie at J-Lab for all of our other stuff, Dry Farms Wine, which I don't know anything about wine, but my wife does, so there's that. So ask her if you had a question, and that's it. So, Dr. Parke, welcome.
Thank you.
Let's just go right off the bat. Origin story. How'd you get here? Go back as far as you want to go, and we'll connect the dots from there.
Yeah, all right. So I started out in traditional medicine. I was actually a cardiac anesthesiologist, a pediatric cardiac anesthesiologist, so I'm doing something completely different than I'm doing now, which is functional medicine. And I have a story just like most of us in this field of medicine. We start having our own challenges, and I was totally burning out, from doing anesthesia. And I was always a healthy person, so I had no idea what was happening. Like, why wasn't I sleeping? Why was I having some stomach issues? Why was I having some palpitations? All these things. And then, of course, I'd go, to see a regular doctor, a really good one too. And this primary care doctor, of course, spent some extra time with me, all the things. But at the end of the day, he was like, oh, you can't sleep. Here's a sleeping pill. Oh, your stomach hurts. Take this proton pump inhibitor to shut down your acid pump. And let's go get this imaging study and those kinds of things. And I just kind of walked out of there like, that's really weird. Like, I'm a really healthy person in my younger 30s. Like, why? Like, I want to know why this stuff is happening. Like, I don't just want to take stuff to cover it up.
Yeah.
So that started my own journey as to on the other side of medicine. I started doing acupuncture to help me with sleep. And it was from one of the friends I was working with, a colleague. She had just said, hey, I'm sleeping really well. She was getting acupuncture for fertility treatments. And at that time I was like, oh my gosh, I will do anything to get a good night's sleep. Let me try it. And I, of course, tried it. And I did some acupuncture and Chinese herbs and worked really great for sleep. Started working on stomach stuff with the same practitioner. And then that opened my eyes to, quote, the other side of medicine.
What sleeping pill did they give you,
I think it was back in the day, so it was like an Ambien. It's like 15 plus years ago,
I went to a doctor once and he gave me Ambien, and it was like going on a mushroom trip, bro.
I never took it. I never took any of the prescriptions because I was like, what?
Yeah, it was not good.
No.
I slept zero. It was I'm trying to remember exactly. I'm sure it's morphed. The story has probably changed over the years. But it was I took it, and I was kind of asleep but not asleep. And then it was I want to say I was in some kind of fucking swamp or forest or something. And when I would close my eyes, it was I was tripping balls. And they're oh yeah, by the way. And then so, when you go to the doctor, you'll get your prescription. Obviously you do. He'll send it to you. Then CVS will send a video. Now it's after the fact though. So I remember I took it, went to sleep. The next day you watch it and it's oh, by the way, the side effects are you could drive your
all this crazy
you
stuff
could drive
can
your
happen.
car.
Yes, yeah.
You could have sex and not know it. You could eat. And I'm how is this not the number one thing that we say? Say no, I get you because the sleeping meds are tough, man. That's not a
well, any of it, and just to the reason of why would a young healthy person have, issues with sleep. And so although there were a lot of good medical questions during that visit, there wasn't really, thought or asking me about my stress or my sleep hygiene or my exercise or my nutrition, like none of the lifestyle factors, right? And so, because that's just like in the traditional medicine box, they don't really, think about those things very much or have time to even think about it very
That's what
much.
I mean. Like, is it obviously, like, in a perfect world, you would see somebody like a practitioner, and then there'd be essentially like a behavior modification person next to them. But the problem is it because they just don't have the time for you, and they feel like hey, I want to give you what I can, but I am also on the clock.
Totally. I think that's how a lot of insurance primary care doctors feel. Like they're not bad people. Like they went into medicine to help people, right?
The system.
Yeah, it's the system. And like they have to see, I have a lot of good friends still doing traditional medicine. It's like a minimum of 30 patients a day. And so there's just not time. And a lot of those doctors, they're not satisfied either. Like they're experiencing symptoms of burnout and stuff. So it's just, so that's why, when I switched teams, let's say, to the other side of medicine, I, got trained and certified in functional medicine, peptide therapies, and I have a bunch of other trainings and whatnot. But it was like I set up my practice to spend time with people so that we could really get into the details on these lifestyle factors, which are 80% of what creates health, right? Nutrition, sleep, exercise and movement, stress management, toxin reduction. That's it. Like that's a big chunk of it. But then the other, let's say 20% or so is what's going on in your own body's biochemistry. So that's where taking time to do extra laboratory testing, so not just the regular standard few things, to take a deeper dive to see what's going on to get to the root causes, the reasons why someone's having their signs and symptoms. So that's, kind of what I've been doing for the last decade now.
So, and you mentioned like the normal, I guess, like hospital system, or if you call it, what is it, medicine 2.0, I guess, or however they frame it now. If you're going to see 30 people a day in an 8-hour day, it's 3 to 4 people every hour, essentially on the hour. And does that count for, I'm sure you have to take some notes like in real time, or how does that even work?
Yeah. They've got to take notes. They've got to document afterwards. And then there's also in their day, there's also like, they're getting messages from patients and staff may have questions and so it's a busy day and it's a long day. So burnout levels and physicians have, of course, been on the rise. But yeah, so there's a lot of us that have gone towards more of a cash pay concierge style model so that we can spend more time with people because people are craving that. They want that. They want to understand what's going on in their health and why. And not everyone is okay with or satisfied with taking a pill to, just kind of band-aid their problem. They want to really understand it and get better. And so spending time with someone like myself, like we really talk, education's part of it. Like I want my patients to understand what is going on and why. It's not just, hey, do this because I told you to and it's good for you. It's like, well, wait, how's it, and we also look at labs through a different lens, right? We want optimal ranges. We're not just accepting the norm. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I guess too, like if you went in and it's like, hey, take this statin or take this sleep pill, is that like a forever thing for most people? Like if you go in and obviously if you read the fine print on sleep medication, it's like, don't do this for more than 2 weeks.
Sure.
But if you don't go follow up and say, hey, I want to come off this, does that just become, this is like basically a subscription forever?
Yeah. I think for a lot of patients, that's exactly, yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And then like to get off that, it's not like you can just take the strongest fucking Ambien and then just take nothing and then hope for the best. Like it's a
little process.
Isn't that crazy?
Come off of, quite a number of medications. Yeah.
So you do the pediatric anesthesiologist route. How hard is that to do? Because we have friends who just do the adult version.
Yeah.
And they're typically, how do I frame it? They're more intelligent. They're kind of type A. They're very, because it's like you can kill people.
Yeah, totally.
Like if I have a bad day here, no offense. Yeah, it really doesn't, what I'm saying? It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like if I got a baby at home, right? Like, so if I'm tired, it's like, okay, maybe I forgot something or whatever, but it's like, everyone's going to be okay.
Right.
Your stuff, not so much.
Totally.
So how is that why did you pick that, I guess? And then what is that
Yeah.
kind of training like afterwards?
Yeah. So I did my anesthesia residency at the Cleveland Clinic and I picked anesthesia. I was like one of those kids in medical school though, to be honest. Like every rotation I got super excited about it. I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. That's awesome. Like, and then I would change rotations to a different specialty and be like, yes, this is awesome. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I like really loved it all. But at the end of the day, I kind of picked anesthesia because it was, it did involve some hands-on stuff, right? Because if you think about your regular primary care doctor medicine, it's pretty much just talking for the most part. Like some primary cares are set up so they're doing tiny procedures. They may be like suturing a wound or something, or a minor thing. But with anesthesia, it was like, ooh, okay, every single day I'm doing some tubes and lines and some catheters and like all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it was one of the only specialties where, as a doctor, I'm in a surgery, right? So I've got to think about plan ahead and think about what might go wrong, like what's the worst case scenario, and be prepared for it. And then understand as the surgery is going on, what's going on and how to deal with it. So it's one of the only types of, I call it 360-degree medicine, where it's like something goes wrong. I'm the one that has to figure out what's going wrong, what the treatment is, like drop the medication or give the blood or do whatever, and then see the resolution to it. So so I was really attracted to it for that reason. And so I did adult residency, regular anesthesia residency at Cleveland Clinic. And then I really liked cardiac and like peds cardiac. Peds cardiac was a little bit, let's call it, more complex than regular adult cardiac.
Yeah.
So I went and did my fellowship at CHOP, Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, in that. And then I moved to Phoenix and worked for a huge anesthesia group here doing peds and peds cardiac anesthesia. But that's, the job that I had taken, it was around 80-ish or so hours a week, sometimes less, sometimes more, but, nights, weekends, holidays.
Like, what is the work schedule?
Yeah.
Like you go in.
Yeah. So you're with that specific position, it was like, between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m., they definitely had you. And then when you were on call, depending on what type of call, I mean, you could work, like, for example, my longest shift was like 32 hours in a row. And I do mean 32 hours in a row of like doing anesthesia care. Like, sometimes you're eating while walking to your next OR and you're like all those kinds of things, like not the healthiest way to,
No.
But no, it's just kind of how the practice was set up. So there's a lot of, times where you'll be up for 20 hours, 24 hours or whatever without, kind of a break. And I'm describing it because that's how I burnt out, right? And me being kind of a more perfectionist type personality with medicine, like I don't know how to be like, oh, that's good enough for you, because as you mentioned, it could kill you.
That's what I mean.
Right? It's like you have to be perfect. And so it, especially doing pediatric anesthesia and then pediatric cardiac anesthesia, like stuff can go wrong really quickly and you got to like be really on it. So I essentially burnt out, from that process. And anyway, so that's kind of what led me down the pathway to, what I'm doing now.
It's like
totally different.
If you could have done it like half the hours, do you think
I
it would
did.
have been different?
Oh, no, I did. Yeah. So the middle part of that
So
story.
we have friends that are doing that right now too.
Totally. The middle part of that story is that's exactly what I did. I was like, okay, like this is like, I am definitely burning out from this. So myself and one of my other colleagues, she was feeling a similar way for different reasons, but we decided to job share. So we went down to 50% each. And so we shared, so I was working like, 35 hours a week, 40 hours a week, half time essentially, right?
Yeah.
And doing that allowed me the time and space to get trained in, acupuncture, functional medicine, like all the stuff, right? And then 2015 came around and I was like, alrighty, like I'm fully trained in all this stuff. Like now what, But once you start seeing this type of medicine, the side of medicine, you can't unsee it. I couldn't unsee it. And so I essentially said, you know what? I'm going to open up my own practice. And I did that. I started, my own, small practice, started really small and just kind of grew it over the years to what it is now.
So like when you're half-time, you made the choice like somewhere in between like, hey, I'm going to do this half the time, obviously get the money, and then learn all this stuff on the side and then build it as I'm kind
That's
of...
exactly what I did. Yeah.
And like, was there just a day where you're like, yeah, fuck it, this is it? Or was like a gradual like, yeah, maybe I'll try this, but maybe I'll actually just stay in this even if I learn this stuff? Because it is a big jump. Obviously, it's still medicine, but they are two drastically different things. And I say this just for the fact of the financial piece. For like one of our friends is an anesthesiologist. They just moved to Durango, Colorado, just because she's like, same thing. The hours sucked here, was too much. She basically works half the time now, but even half the time is still a shit ton of money for her. And it can work because all her loans are paid, whatever.
Yeah, totally.
And that's why I frame it that way, because it's like, well, you spent all this time learning this very particular skill.
A lot of years, a lot of money. Yep.
And it's not like you can go work at Walmart
Right.
if you have student loan payments to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Totally.
it's a big jump.
Yeah, yeah. No, exactly. And so that was my original plan, was to, and I had like all the parts in place, was to, instead of job sharing, the girl that I had been job sharing with and I, like, we decided we were going to go per quote per diem, right? Which is like as needed. Essentially you can sign up to work shifts, but there's no calls and whatnot. And then open up my practice like very part-time. So that was already in process. But what was going on in the background there was my anesthesia group was getting bought out essentially. And it came at a time where I was like, yep, I'm not going to sign that new contract. Nope. I'm just like, sink or swim, like, boom, like now's the time. And I did that in September of 2015 and haven't looked back.
Here we are.
Yeah.
So how was that at first too? Because you're like, I spent all this time and money doing this thing. I like this thing more, but it's a completely different, the business structure is completely different.
Yeah,
And
totally.
now you're driving the bus, you're not a passenger.
100%. Yeah, exactly. So you become, becoming a business owner is a whole other
Sucks.
situation.
Yeah. It's great, but it sucks.
It's
Yeah.
great, but like right, there's never a day off. Like people are like, oh, are you off today? And I'm like,
Like you might not be in the building.
Exactly, but there's work being done like all the time.
It's like, I describe it in a good way. Like you ever watch the show Dexter?
Of course. Yeah.
So it's like, it's the dark passenger.
Yeah.
Like it's always with you.
Yeah.
Like my wife can my wife can leave, her brain shuts off. She's like, no emails, no phone calls. And not that I'm checking my phone, but my brain is always like, oh, is this an idea for this? Or is this, or did something go, there's always shit that does go wrong too, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So you're never really, it's never really goes off.
Right.
It's just always this thing
Right.
it's almost like a kid.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you get it from, or a puppy, you get it from nothing.
Yeah.
And you build it into this thing and you're just trying to keep it alive, essentially.
Totally. Yeah. But I figured out like over the years, it didn't happen right away because, when you're first starting, you're not as busy, but then you're hustling, like, right? Like you're, I did tons of like free talks and like a webinar, like all these kinds of things.
You don't even know what the fuck you're doing at first. Like I would wake up on a
Right?
Tuesday and I'm like, have anxiety. I'm like, I need to do something, but I don't know
What
what
to
the
do?
fuck I'm
Yeah,
doing.
yeah,
So let me
yeah.
just do something. Yeah.
It's a whole learning process. So like, and then you go through a phase where you're like, okay, well now, as you grow, which is great, then you have growing pains that happen, right? So then it's like, okay, yeah, hire more people and do more different things. And then, I'll figure all that stuff out. And then you get to a point where you're like, okay, like I'm, I'm pretty full. But still I think it took me personally, especially years to figure out how to smush work and life together. Right. It's like, for me, like I still like, right. I need to eat my good food. I need to get my sleep. I need to, get my exercise in. I need to all the stuff. Right.
Yeah.
And so I have to, walk the walk. Right. I don't think it's fair to not walk the walk. If I'm asking y'all to do all these things, like I better be doing them myself. So I have figured out how to structure my days so that like all the things, get done. But, which is, it's nice to have some flexibility, but like you say, it's just, the work is never done.
No, well, the benefit is like in that it took me a long time to do this too, where you make it fit your life, not just everybody else's.
Yes.
And at first you have to, like,
Yes.
you're going to eat shit. That's just how you
Totally.
build it. But then I would always ask the question, because I've been doing this almost 20 years, like, what am I building it for? Mm-hmm. Like, let me build this. I'm like, but for who? I'm not going to fucking give it to someone. So all it has to do is fit what I want to do.
Yeah.
And how successful am I if I can't work out for an hour a day?
Right.
If I can't go to the shooting range or go to jiu-jitsu or play guitar or whatever the fuck I want to do, like, then what is the point? I might as well go work for somebody.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's way easier to do it that way.
Totally.
How long was it just you, too?
It wasn't very less. I think 2-ish or so years, and then I have another doc that started part-time. She was one of my anesthesia colleagues, actually.
Nice.
Her and I started bonding over. We would be at these group, let's call them events or whatever, with somewhere within our anesthesia group, and her and I would be like eating the healthy food, talking about like all talking about all this stuff. So we kind of ventured down these educational pathways together. She is still doing anesthesia part-time, but she started doing some functional medicine part-time. And then another doc came along shortly after that, part-time, and another, anyway, so that's kind of how the practice grew. But what's interesting is like right now, like all the other, so there's 2 other docs and a PA in the practice, they're all doing it because they want satisfaction out of this type of medicine versus, what they do on a day-to-day basis, let's say.
Well, yeah, and the outcomes too of, because we have some hospital CFO dudes here, like what they consider like a success is probably not like what the patient considers a success sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Like
Sure.
whatever the outcome is, like, hey, if it gets past this date, this is a successful surgery, or hey, we gave them these pills and they didn't harass us, like they're fixed. It's like, well, no, that doesn't mean like the outcome is successful.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I think about, like how many fewer, or I guess how many people do you see in a day on average? I'm sure it's different each day.
It is a little different each day, but like
Because some stuff takes less time, obviously.
yes, but because of what I'm like for example, my new patient appointments are 90 minutes, and then like the first couple follow-ups after that are like 60 minutes, and then a quote regular follow-up for most patients is anywhere from 45 to 60 minutes. Sometimes we have 30-minute visits. If like someone gets to, which it's great when they do, but patients will get to like a maintenance place where it's like, hey, I'm just making sure, I'm just keeping them out of trouble. They're doing great, so we don't need that. We need to spend that much time together. But like an average day, so that ends, if you do the math, it ends up being like 6 to 8 patients. But what's interesting is this type, for me anyway, this type of medicine, it's not just let me pull up your chart and like walk in the door and be like, oh, how are you today? Right? Like a week ahead of time, I'm preparing for the following week's visits, right? So it's a very thoughtful type of medicine. So I'm in their charts. Like last week, I prepared for this upcoming week's patient appointments. That's not just because there was a new patient. It's like all the patients get that, kind of a treatment and care, and look at, their chart and what they're doing for all their things, and we start a visit with a very, I'm up to date on everything and know what their most recent labs are, and we can have a really, productive 45 or 60 minutes.
And I think that's the biggest difference, because like when you go to the normal, I guess the normal medical system, if it's 30 people a day, I always use the example of here. We have a couple hundred members here, but I see them 2 to 5 or 6 times a week for years. So that means like I know their kids. We typically grow up with them. We know where they work. We know their wives. Like, because the frequency is so great.
Yeah.
Now imagine if I saw everybody like on our app, but each day it was 30 new people.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way, dude.
Yeah.
I could remember, as good as I want to be, it's just not humanly possible.
Right.
To give them the time and to remember them.
Yeah.
Especially if it was like to take notes and go back. I will say like my, she's a nurse practitioner. It's my general, I guess, that I see. But it's a little bit different system. They used to be at a concierge place, now they're down the street. But it's way less. And they remember me though. Maybe because I look different. I do different things. Like I stick out, not like the normal 42-year-old dude.
Yeah.
But I'll do that. I'll send thank you notes and do shit. So I'm like, hey, just don't treat me like a fucking criminal. But like, you know what I'm saying? But like the Mayo Clinic does great in terms of what they do. Like in terms of just the portal and notes and things.
Totally.
Like where I've had conversations there. Like, because they'll do acupuncture there too.
Yeah.
There's different stuff.
Yeah.
Where I'll go in and we'll have a conversation about a book, and I'll forget the book title. Go in the portal, ask a question.
Boom. Exactly.
That doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen in out there in the real world very often. And that's exactly it's exactly how this is set up. So it's also, a lot of times if you go to have a traditional visit, you either don't get a visit summary, or it's like a small piece of paper with there's very little information.
Or the
on
portal
it.
doesn't work.
Or there's no portal. Yeah, right. Like there's a portal, but question mark.
I've had that too.
Or will someone ever get back to you? Or, like whether you call or send a port. So this, right. So like the system there that, I've got set up is very similar to what you're describing, where it's like, you get a huge visit summary in writing. It's very clear what I want you doing for nutrition, sleep, exercise and movement, stress management, toxin reduction, any laboratory testing, any nutritional supplements, how to take them, what they're for, all the stuff. Like if we talked about like you were just saying, a book reference, or go look at this, or, check out Jeremy Scott for fitness. We need to add some high intensity interval training for your metabolic health, like those kinds of things. Well, it's all there in writing on the patient portal. And then there's like links to stuff too, right? Like I'll link to a video of me, saying something, or, and so on and so forth. So it's just a different way of practicing medicine.
Like, and I'll go, I don't need to go down all these rabbit holes, but does the system ever get fixed from that? Or is it just it's like you'd have to blow the whole thing up, right? Because it's, when you understand the economics of it, when you hear these dudes talk of like how ridiculous most things are, and how insurance is too. Like I just had a kid a couple months ago, and that bill, like when they send it to you, is like $40-some thousand.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way.
Yeah.
A normal person pays that. You know what I mean? Like, obviously we have insurance and you go through, but you look at the breakdown, I'm like, this is bonkers, dude.
That's the EOB, the explanation of benefits. It's like what the hospital has charged the insurance company. Yeah.
And if you're a normal person and you have insurance, this is what you do. It's just how it works. But can they ever fix that? Is there any way it could ever be fixed?
I mean, I hope so, but like it's a very...
But like realistically.
No, seriously. It's a really tall order though, right? So then, because insurance, typically the reward is like you get rewards for the most amount of patients that you see, right? So there's not an emphasis on
business.
quality, right? Or outcomes, and so that's where I think by the way, if we rewind to before insurance days, like kind of what I'm doing now and what you're describing, that's how the old, right? You knew your doctor really well. They used to come to your house. That was like the old school system, right? Like your doctor came with their little bag and I did the house call.
And I swear too,
and they knew your family and all this stuff. Yeah.
I swear, like when I grew up too, like in the little city I'm from, like the doctor did kind of everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I swear.
If you're in a small town, your general practitioners, they can do a little surgery. They can do a little everything.
Yeah, I swear, like the dude who delivered me is the same dude I would just see.
Probably.
Like my whole life.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I do. Yeah, that's how it used to be. Yeah.
That's not a thing here.
No, but now, and that's the other thing is like each, in insurance medicine, each of the specialties is very like this blinder. Like it's like this is what all they do kind of thing. Like, oh, we don't do that. Go see the specialist kind of a thing.
And to me, it reminds me of like construction on a house. Before like we bought this place here, I never remodeled the house. Like the house I bought was already like redone. When we bought this building used to be like a refrigerator, this unit right here. And it was just we had to gut the whole thing. And I thought, I'll get a construction guy. So we have a GP that's here. He had 14 different dudes show up on the same day. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? He's like, yeah, this is the plumbing guy. This is electrician. And I thought they were all like friends. No, they don't fucking know each other. They don't talk.
They're all there to do their individual
job. But like
yeah.
the plumbing guy would come, but he wouldn't do the shit for like the tile guy. And so then they're waiting on each other and they don't communicate for shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then when I got into like medicine, I'm like, this is the same thing.
Yeah, very similar, yeah.
You don't talk to this guy. Like, urology doesn't talk to anesthesia. And I'm like, how are you guys not like, your general person doesn't talk to anybody. You basically have to be the catalyst for everything. And you have to ask all the questions and do all the research. And most people, don't have the bandwidth for that. They're too busy or they don't make time. And it's like, then they're kind of stuck on an island like, well, this guy told me this guy told me this. Like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. And they sure as fuck don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
And if you go in there and say, hey, well, my doctor here told me this, they're like, oh, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not really, not everybody.
Yeah, totally.
But it is a weird space.
Yeah. It's kind of like your general contractor in that situation. That's what a primary care doctor is meant to do. But you might imagine, like, let's say there's a complicated patient and they've seen 4 or 5 different specialists, and how, like we just described, like the system isn't set up to be like, allow them to review all those notes like in detail from the specialist and have a longer conversation about what all the stuff is going on. But I think that's why there's been this huge surge in, what I'm doing, like cash pay concierge style medicine, where like we're able to spend, more time. People want that. They want to know what's going on in their health. And I, end up being sometimes like a medical translator too. It's like, well, my doctor said this, this, and this. And it's like, okay, well, let's talk about like what, you know what I mean? What that all is and what it means and what we might want to do about it. And it's just a different style. But there's a lot, as you can see in the area, especially here in Scottsdale, Paradise Valley area, there's a lot more of, concierge style practices kind of popping up.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that until, I've lived here forever now, but I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, especially when I'm younger, because like the place I used to go, what is it? Lifescape is where I went forever ago. And it was just a normal, you go in, and then eventually like every doctor went to the concierge model, every single one over time. And then the girl I worked with there just went to this other place and still did insurance. I'm like, well, dude, I'm 27. I'm not paying you $15,000 a year to read my dummy blood work. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I didn't need it. Right, at that point. Or maybe you do, I don't know.
And there's different models of like how people have it set up. Like, some have like you were saying, like you pay a big annual
fee. It's like a membership, kind of then you can kind of harass them whenever you want.
Yeah, there's all different types of models. Yeah. And like I have chosen to do like kind of like almost like fee for service, although it's not exactly true. It's like the, cash pay pricing includes like all the stuff in between, all the preparation before visits, answering messages after visits, all this stuff. But it's that middle ground. Like what I am doing is that like kind of middle ground between, like for someone like yourself who's like, I don't need to, pay 15 or 20 grand to have like a creme de la creme, you know,
I don't need to text you every day.
Right. Cause you don't need, right. But like you may have some stuff come up and like you want someone, you know, supervising, looking very much in detail onto your health and being preventative and proactive and like what's all the latest and greatest and all the newest stuff. And, you know, like that's kind of where a practice like mine, you know, slides in and you know, fills the gap.
Yeah. If I was like just in like I'll use D-Lo as the example. Like if I was him and I just like sold insurance and I didn't do this, that's probably what I would do. The only difference for me is like, okay, because my wife, we have sick insurance, and I do have a general doctor I do like. So it's like I can order anything and insurance just pays for it.
I mean,
which
plus
is
you're
money.
in the business, so you understand more, you know, like you're not the average bear.
No, and it's like to have 20 other doctors here that I can ask questions to too and play off it.
And learn over the years. Yeah.
Yeah, that is super helpful. I go, but if I didn't know anything, I would and again, you have to have I think for people listening, like you have to have a lot of trust in this person. And I think it is shifted a little bit, like where my grandma and grandpa, well, I shouldn't say my grandma, all my grandparents are dead, but my grandma died at like 90. She didn't go to the doctor the last 30 years of her life. She's like, what the fuck is this guy going to tell me? You know, like she had like that mentality. I go, made it to 90. But most people, I think in that generation, a lot of times, like if the doctor said it, it was like
gospel.
Yes.
Like they absolutely did it. Yeah.
And
totally.
I grew up that way. Like, oh, the doctor told me this. And as I've gotten older, I'm like, maybe because I do this for a living, and this is not a knock. There's some doctors I've worked with that are like fucking straight up geniuses.
Totally.
Like, I got an ENT guy. He's a fucking genius. Like legitimately, like he's one of the smartest people I've ever met. He reads everything. Like if we give him a creatine supplement, he'll read the entire fucking bro. Nobody fucking does that. He's reading every fucking thing on PubMed. Then there's some doctors here where I'm like, how? Like how the fuck?
Yeah.
Because you can't do anything else. Maybe you're good at this one thing, and I'm like, I'm not saying they're not a great physician. I go, but if they were to tell me something, I would be like, well, okay.
I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah. And I think there's more of that now.
Yeah, there's a lot more of that. And I think especially the patients that are coming to my practice, a lot of them come very educated. Like someone like you shows up on the door. It's like a very different conversation than someone who, you know, gets referred because their
my dad
told them to come or a relative or whatever. And I'm like starting from scratch. So it's a unique model in that way because I get the advanced people in that are like, that know all the stuff. Like we're listening to the same podcast, we're following the same research, and by the way, like I learn stuff from patients all the time. I'm like, oh, that's a cool resource, like let me look into that. So I guess that's one of the good parts about having the longer visits. You really get to know people really well, and it's a relationship based type of medicine too. It's not it's less transactional and more relationship based.
Oh yeah, no, there's even doctors here where it's like we might know a place that does a treatment that they don't do, or they have access to a different set of like
resources,
like peptides, for example.
Totally, yeah, exactly.
They're like, yeah, oh yeah. I'm like, well, yeah, this my guy Sean, who's a doctor down the street. I'm like, he gets this BPC-57 or peptidecarginate here, and my one naturopath here can't get it. I'm like, oh, let me put you guys in an email, and it's like, now we can connect those guys.
Totally.
Which is like a thing that never would have happened in the traditional world. I don't think ever.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Like you guys are your own bosses.
Totally.
And in the other model, it's kind of, I guess that's what's the biggest difference, I guess? That and just the volume of people you get to see versus what they get to see. And you can pick and choose, where if you work at like Banner, you just got to take what they give you.
Yeah, totally. And quality. I think like these are, we aim for quality appointments, it's not just about how many, right? It's like we really aim for that.
So like who is your, well, I guess I'll ask the acupuncture thing first. You got into it because like it helped you, and I know and acupuncture is, I've been across the board. I used to think it was all bullshit, like most things. I think most things are fake until they become real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like,
until proven otherwise.
This is bullshit.
Understood. Yeah.
So I remember I went. I don't know my first time ever, but there was like my mom sent me to like a dude who was like, he's like old, like legit, like old school. Then there's a dude, Dr. Tout on the street. He's legit. He's great. The one my mom sent me, like this fucking guy, great dude. He'd hook you up, put the stims in and stuff. But like when they would do their massage or whatever they would call it, it's like this guy's like elbowing me like in the spine, like in my spine. And it's not like hard enough to do damage, but I'm sitting there like, and I have a basic understanding of anatomy. And I'm like, this doesn't seem like this is like appropriate, you know?
Like,
I go, but
or
like,
how is it going to help? Yeah.
Yeah, but like Thai massage, they walk on you and stuff. And then like his was stim. The Dr. Tao guy, and I've been to a Mayo Clinic as well. Like his is, there's no stim machine. They just like pumps you in. It's all meridian stuff. They'll put the heat on, and I'm like,
There's different types. There's a lot of different types of acupuncture. Yeah.
and I will say, like, every time I'll go, like, I would fall asleep.
Yeah.
Just
super
like
relaxing.
Oh, it's
yeah.
the best, dude. Yeah, it's way more passive than, like dry needling, which is like the fucking worst,
Yeah,
but great too for its own thing.
Yeah.
So you got into it for that, but that training is long.
So I did the the physician training for acupuncture first, and that because again that was the first quote other modality that helped me. So I was like, ooh, I want to learn this. How can I help other people with this?
Yeah.
And that's where I learned about integrative and functional medicine. Like I didn't even know like those were like foreign terms essentially to me way back when. And
Like, did you think they were kind of bullshit before?
well, I mean, I just didn't like I didn't even really know honestly, like until my work colleague was like, "Hey, I'm sleeping really good from acupuncture." I was like, "What?" It was just a weird one-off thing. I had no idea. But out of desperation, right? Like that was I started going because I was like, I'll do anything. So
Same here,
curiosity, right? It was like, okay, well, how does this work? And like it can help for all these things and look at all, and PS, let's start looking at the research on it and whatnot. And so that's what made me start down that initial rabbit hole. But I think the key thing was meeting, one of the other women she was a physician, training in the same acupuncture course as me, who knew about functional medicine and started her own training pathway. And so then that made me look into it. And then I just kind of, boom, like that's it. Like this is what I'm doing. And I started, training in it and then, got certified in a couple years. And yeah.
Do you
Rest
think
is history.
like traditional medicine, like some people in that space look at that as like, eh?
Oh, totally.
Or do most people be like, yeah, acupuncture is real, or is it like split?
I think, it's not even just with acupuncture. I think with let's call it all the other, integrative or, non-traditional types of medicine.
But like, what does that even mean?
It
Like you're eating right and you're exercising and you're fucking taking supplements. Like that's alternative.
Well, it depends on who you talk to.
You know what I'm saying?
No, 100%. No,
that sounds
it's bananas,
Yeah.
right? It's bananas. So but that's kind of how it still exists out in the world. Like some, you know how it is. Like it just depends. Some like traditional physicians might be receptive to learning something new, and others are like, no, that's complete woo woo. Like I didn't learn about that in medical school, like that kind of stuff. And so it's like all over the board because my patients will still see. Some of the traditional docs, like I can't do everything, right? I mean, like, hey, so-and-so, like I need you to go to cardiology because blah, 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 blah. Or I think you really, need to get an endoscopy or, like sometimes we have to obviously work with other specialists because they are doing procedures and things that like I can't do. And it's the reactions are all over the board. There's some docs that are like, that's amazing. I can't believe you got better from doing this XYZ elimination diet. Like what was that? You know what I mean? And then there's others that are like, diet's never going to help you, or that's not why you got better. Or so, right. It's like, and everything in between. So it's, it's all over the board.
I always wonder that too, just because I've done this enough with enough different people where, like this is what we do, but who's to say like, that model isn't, I'm not talking shit, but it's not right. You just look at outcomes. Like you're not getting healthier.
Yeah.
And I'm not blaming the system for that. It's people's individual choices.
Sure.
I go, but the way we're trying to make it better isn't working.
Yeah.
It's the same way, like if I look at fitness, and this is why I say it's all bullshit. Like we're the unhealthiest we've ever been.
Yeah, we're the sickest and fattest
and
we've ever been.
There was never a Jeremy Scott Fitness 100 fucking years ago. There wasn't one.
Yeah.
Now there's a million of them.
Right.
Yeah, we suck. It's like you're in the Titanic.
Yeah.
And you got a cup, and you're like, let me scoop some water out. It's like, bro, we're fucked. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel that way because it's like you wake up, and I don't because it matters, but like you do this long enough, you get cynical or like jaded by it. You're like, what am I doing? Like you're putting in all this effort but it feels that way. Like it's a little cup of water, and it's like, well, even if I have them because I have them for more hours than you do. I have them for hours a week.
Yeah, sure.
I go, but it's the other 23 hours a day, every day. That matters more than what they see with me and what they see with you.
100%. But like for some people, giving them a helpful roadmap. I mean, fitness is a great example, right? It's like saying I go to the gym. Like, what does that mean? Are you like walking at 2 miles an hour on the treadmill going to the gym? Are you doing CrossFit like what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everything in between. So there's, I think for some people, the devil's in the detail when it comes to exercise prescription, just like it is for anything else, like nutrition or, sleep, all the things, right? It's like not, sometimes, as you know, sometimes people are working out too much. And the answer is like, sit your ass down some more. You need to recover. Like, this is why you're not, like your body fat's high because it's a stress on your body. And then there's others that are like, think they're working out, but it's like, are you?
Yeah, no.
Like how high are we getting the heart rate and for how long? And like, so that's where the expertise, like someone like yourself that can, be like, this is maybe the optimal amount of workouts per week at the XYZ intensity. And here's what we're doing with your lifting program and so on. And by the way, stuff, as you know, changes over time. Can't be doing the same thing all the time. Right?
No. Well, you change too. Like, even if you want to do certain things, or like in my case, I always say like, you're not, Jordan from 1987 anymore. You're like Jordan from the second three-peat, or you're Jordan from the Wizards. And eventually you're just retired. Yeah. Like because your brain, like the example, like we would play basketball with the same 35 dudes like once a year for like 25 years. We did this till recently. And a buddy of mine lives here, grew up with him. We both played obviously sports in college, and we'd show up and like, okay, we're just going to like the goal is not to get hurt today. And we're just like, we're going to take it easy. But within 10 minutes, dude, you're already back to your old shit. And it's like, I'll tear a calf muscle. He's over there, can't walk. It's like, because you still want to go 1,000. And it's hard if you are a person, you don't want to let those skills go.
Yeah.
But also realize like, there's a reason, in your 40s, you can't move the same way exactly you did. You can still be great.
Yeah, totally.
But it's the people, and I say this on here a lot, they're like, oh, I'm 50, I'm in the best shape of my life. That's fucking amazing, dude. It just means you were never elite. It's just the truth, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like,
if you put that effort in 20 years ago or 30 years ago or whatever? Yeah.
Like if you said, hey, me overall today at this age, yes, probably the best overall, how I eat, sleep, mobility, whatever. But in terms of like, if I could run as fast as 22-year-old me, are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah.
There's no, like laterally,
Yeah.
no. Or like optimal strength, like 31-year-old me. Like, it's just that's a hard part for people too, to kind of grasp like, oh, my training has to change. And also like your eating and your drinking habits, like they have to change. Like, you get away with less. As you get older, for sure.
That is the quintessential conversation that I'm having a lot with perimenopausal women. It's like, oh, I've gained weight but nothing's changed. And it's like, I would love to, I'm 49 by the way, so this is a we thing. Like I would love to say like, there's a magical wand we can wave. But the truth is like like our exercise habits have to change and our, eating habits have to change. Like what worked 15 years ago isn't going to get you where you want to go. Or even sadly keep you where you were. Like that's the truth of it.
So like when does that, like how does that conversation go, I guess? And like what's the kind of the age range you see for the most part? Like where does that start to unfold?
I think it's vastly different for everyone. Like some people, like don't you see like sometimes people can keep it going real strong for like a long time, and then
it's crazy, yeah.
And there's like these outlier people, and then it's just like for most people though, I think it's like a slower creep. And then obviously for women in perimenopause, like even, in our mid 30s, changes start to happen. But then definitely in the 40s, like even more changes start to happen, right? Average age of menopause is around age 50-ish or so, right? And so, things definitely sleep start, there's a lot of stuff that
like everything just gets worse. Is that right?
Kind of.
Yeah. I don't know how you say it.
If you look at like, the studies on, sarcopenia and like muscle loss. And it's like, if you just sit, it starts really early. I think it starts before age 30. If you just sit, if you're not doing something to maintain or try to gain muscle, like it's going. And the older we get, the harder it is to maintain it and to like not, like essentially to gain it, right?
To build it, yeah.
It's really like hard. It's a lot of more effort. And so like we want to, if we can, like, especially in our 30s and 40s, it's like, make sure all those habits are like really dialed in like that, for the future.
Is that the biggest thing? Like just muscle loss, strength loss, sleep patterns?
That's a big one. But like, yeah, sleep is huge.
Like you just start to sleep like shit.
For women, like, because, so like what actually happens is second half of cycle, we normally ovulate and then our progesterone, goes up. Progesterone, part of what it does is hits the GABA receptor. So that helps us sleep and anxiety. So that starts kind of petering out in our, sometimes in our mid 30s, but definitely late 30s. And so women will start to say like they notice second half of cycle, like they're not sleeping as good or not as soundly and so on and so forth. And so, we starting to support that part, that half of the cycle. And then as you go through actual menopause, now we're talking about a low estrogen problem, right? That's why women get hot flashes and night sweats and all the other stuff.
Yeah.
But if you look at the research, like it's very clear, like a metabolic problem starts happening in menopause for most women, right? This is where we see the increase in visceral fat, right? And so, I have an in-body 570 scanner in my office because it's like a vital sign to me. Like it's as important as what is your blood pressure, because what's your body composition? What are you made of? So like these changes start to happen, and, we want to do everything we can to, again, rewind what, some of the damage that's been done depending on what stage you're coming in to see me at, but like just create a good longevity program for you.
And the Embody, we just did a DEXA scan a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's comparable, right?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So it is like the InBody 570 is, FDA approved to be, kind of they put it against a DEXA scan. But I mean, to be fair, the InBody it's bioimpedance, but it's a very good,
It's like hands and feet.
technical. Yeah. You're standing on a scale, and like the impedance goes through the feet, and there's like handles that it goes through. But it does get granular, right? It tells me like right arm, left arm, right leg, left leg, trunk, visceral fat. Tells me your extracellular and total body water. Like it gives a bunch of information, which is good. But it trends to get back to your DEXA scan thing. Like I see it trend with it, but I have had patients do a DEXA fit, and an in-body in close proximity, and like it's not like it comes up with the exact same body fat percentage, and you kind of can't ask it to, right? The DEXA scan is like it's the most detailed, it's the gold standard, it's the most detailed way
and you have to
look at it.
calibrate it right too, because we've done them all on the same day. Where I did an Embody, I did bod pod, we got clipped, and DEXA scan, like all on the same day.
Yeah.
They're all different.
Yeah, they're all different, absolutely. So you just got it. The in-body's nice because you're not doing a DEXA fit like you can't do it every week or every month even, like, you know what I mean? Like it's a once or twice a year kind of a situation max, right? Yeah. And so that's where the trending becomes nice. And I do find that the in-body does it trends with those things, but and you got to have something that's just reproduce. You're able to do it, like I said, once a week, once a month, and so on. As we give prescriptions for different diets and exercise, and maybe some supplements and things to help with muscle mass.
Yeah, I'll ask that question too. I guess who's your the biggest demo? Men, women? Is it a mix? Age range?
Yeah, I definitely have a mix. I do have a lot of me's. I have a lot of other women in their 40s kind of thing.
For sure.
But the age range, and we have other practitioners that see kids in the practice even. So we have little ones all the way on up to, I think my oldest patient's 93. I have some really cool longevity patients. Love these guys. And I'm only seeing them once or twice a year because again, what am I,
Yeah, they're gonna do what they do.
It's and P.S. They're living at home, on their own. They're driving to the office. We're having a conversation just as quick and detailed as you and I are right now. And so I'm you sit there across, and I'm if I'm lucky, I will be like you at your age.
For sure.
But we're just doing little things, making sure there's little no nutrient deficiencies and things are optimal and all the stuff, right? So it's a huge range. But yes, there's a lot of people in their anywhere from 30s, 40s to 50s is a chunk, I would say, of my crowd.
And they come to you typically, why? They're just hey, somebody referred me here, or I'm going the traditional route and I'm not getting the answers, or?
Both are super typical. I have gone down a traditional medicine pathway, and I don't like what they have to say, or I don't want to do the procedure or the medication that they have. I want to try and fix it naturally. That's a chunk that comes in. The other, crowd that comes in are let's call them medical mysteries. It's I've been everywhere and no one can figure out what the hell is going on. And then there's the I would just want to be better crowd, the optimization, health and longevity preventative crowd. I want someone to take a deeper look at what's going on in my own body. So it's all over the board.
And how much behavior modification stuff do you guys try to do with people? I mean,
huge. That's huge. And literally every single visit, we talk about nutrition, sleep, exercise and movement, stress management, toxin reduction. Those are questions that I ask. We review that stuff every visit, right? Nutrition, sleep, exercise, stress, those have to get talked about too. It's part of being a healthy person.
Yeah.
So they're just, it's like a vital sign, what's your blood pressure or your heart rate or, your oxygen level. It's those are just as important. So those are they're just part of the conversation.
And like, how do you address like the stress thing? You know, obviously every case is probably different, but it's like easy for me to say here. Like, people will say, "Well, how do I get shredded?" I'm like, "Well, dude, there's the basic stuff is basic. Like, you know the answers.
Yes.
It's the everything else I probably can't help you with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's my
Yeah.
life, like I work 100 feet from all the equipment I'd ever want to use.
Yeah.
I'm here every day. My wife knows what I do. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have any bills. Like, all the things are in my favor.
Yeah.
Like, for me not to be fit, it's almost like it'd be hard as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's everything
Yeah.
I do. So unless I can give you all of the pieces that I have and create this ecosystem and environment that allows me to be successful, I can work when I want. I can take the time off when I want. I can tell you not to come here. Like, I can put on a movie. No one can bother me. Like, everything is in my grasp.
Yeah.
Where if you're, you know, Joe, who's got 3 kids, he works in finance. He's
Yeah.
only got, like, he's fucked compared to me.
Yeah, I mean, you have to like so in that way so there's a lot of behavior modification. You have to start somewhere, right? So it's not you can't like what's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And I even see that sometimes in the practice where even when it's not to say like obviously fixing nutrient deficiencies and optimizing hormones and looking at toxins and like looking at all the advanced biochemistry and all that, like that is huge, but a lot of these things are supplemental to the lifestyle factors, right? It's like it's to your point. You can't, it'd be really hard to get someone shredded if they're sleeping 4 hours a night and they're like super stressed, even if they were eating perfect and doing quote all the workouts and stuff. Like it's to be like a magic trick, right?
Yeah.
So that's why we got to spend time talking about these, really important lifestyle factors. And with the person that is very busy and high stress and all the things, it's like you just have to start somewhere, even if it's like a 5 to 10 minute relaxation practice. And sleep hygiene is huge. Like a lot of these people are, I just had a patient last week, big executive type guy, and it's like you can't be on your computer and answering calls and emails until 10 p.m. and then expect to just fall asleep into this amazing, great deep sleep and REM sleep, percentage. And so you just kind of helping people structure their day, to, create a little bit more of a relaxation practice and, prioritizing getting enough good quality sleep. Like those are just like little, like start making little shifts. It's not like, start coming off your computer at 5 p.m. It's like, okay, let's make a goal of like nothing past 8 p.m. Like, let's just start there.
Shallow and deep end. Yeah.
Shallow and deep end. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Cause like there's people who can do the complete overhaul of just like, hey, fuck it, whatever. But most people can't.
One thing at a time.
And also
one new change at a time.
You're used to doing, like, again, for me, like I could do anything. And I literally thought this for the longest time. Like, you ever seen like Unbreakable with Bruce Willis? Not only do I look like him, but I thought like in the moment, I mean, it's right up here.
Love it. Yeah.
The Die Hard. But I thought if like I'm on a bus and this crashes, everyone would be dead, but I'll be fine. Like I literally thought like I was bulletproof for so long.
Yeah.
And my point was I could do anything and just knock on wood, like not get injured. And I could drink fucking 25 beers, pass out, wake up, and like just be fine until you can't.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, I think they get into this routine of like, well, I'm going to kind of, burn the candle at both ends, run it super hard. I'll just crash, go to sleep. But eventually that stops happening.
Yeah.
You stop being able to.
You can't compensate. Yeah.
You don't, it's like if you could, I always say like I equate to the NBA, like they play 82 games a year. A lot of the guys could still play if they played every 4 days. And that's like, you could still do the same shit you did if you could just work every 4 days or work out every 4 days. The problem is like your job is still your job and you can't come back anymore.
Yeah.
That's hard for people to grasp with like, well, I used to do this. It's like, well, no, you're in a different phase. Like it's playoff mode and practice mode. Sometimes you can sprint, but sometimes you can't. But if you're used to always like doing that for 25 years,
it's a shift.
And then you hit an age and you're like, fuck, dude, I'm not that guy anymore. I'm a different guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah. I mean, I experienced it too. It's like I love all the different types of workouts. Like I would love to do more, but I've learned like performance starts to suffer if, in whatever it is I'm doing, rock climbing or lifting or whatever, if I do too much of it. I just can't.
You can't be the best at everything.
Can't recover from it. And, and every once in a while this happened to me like 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I think it was. So a lot of people I rock climb with, I'm old enough to be their mom. They're like in their 20s, right? Which is great. Like I love it. It's great. It's because it challenges me. But like we went to our rock climbing place. Black Rock Bouldering had a bouldering competition, And so there were all these fun new bouldering sets. And like I climbed for like 2 hours and 40 minutes. I had a great time doing it. I performed really well. What do you think happened to me on Monday morning?
Smoke, bro. Just crushed.
I went to get out of bed and I was like, okay. Like, I was like, the low back and then the hip. I'm like, oh, okay, and I did it to myself. I had fun doing it, but but that kind of a thing 15 years ago, I just would have been would have been a little sore, and I would have woken up and like moved on, and like, you know what I mean. But it took a few days to kind of get a hang of it, and I was like, oh, I better do a light workout on the next. Like you're just not the you used to be.
Yeah, the things that used to go away just don't go away. You have to make them go away.
Yes.
Whether it's mobility, tissue work, resting,
all the stuff.
And also there's an evolution there in training too, and how you eat and everything. Of like, hey, I can still do this, but I have to do it in a smart way.
Yeah.
And it's hard there was probably a decade where I came here and like just sore as fuck every day. Like felt like I got hit by a bus. Like you're here on Monday thinking about when you can take a nap on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because like I still got to run this business. But now as you get older, hopefully there's I call it like energy conservation.
Yeah. You get smarter.
Yeah. Well, and also like,
yeah.
Because you can't let that stuff steal, just like your job. It's like, the saying, like the things you own end up owning you. Like if this job is paying you all this money, but you're super fucking stressed out and you can't exercise for a couple hours a week, are you really successful?
Right.
Or is your job?
Right.
But it's the same thing in fitness. If you're a person who loves to be super active, you can push that so hard where it's like then you go home and you're a bag of shit, or you're a bag of shit at work.
Yes.
And we call that like when your fitness steals your fitness. Because the goal for you is to be able to train and go rock climb so you can rock climb, but not rock climb so hard you can't do your fucking job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally. Yeah. Or, be present with your family after work and all that kind of stuff. Absolutely. It all, yep. Yeah.
And so you mentioned it like with the stress piece, which can affect like the hormones, and that's a thing that you guys do. Do you want to just break it down, like what that looks like for maybe like the men, the women that come in? Like obviously they come in, whether their stuff is across the board, you take them through the blood work, what that looks like. And again, because obviously, like I'm in my 40s, we have a lot of dudes here that are much older, whether they're on hormone replacement, same thing for the women here. Because they weren't, first of all, they weren't even in like range, or they were like, and again, we'll talk about the ranges too.
Yeah.
Like for men, it's fucking ridiculous, like what the range is.
Yeah.
What you have to, again, back to the traditional medical model of what you would have to test in to have your insurance pay for that, even though it's utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
So like, what does that look like for you when like men and women come in? They're like, hey, I'm not feeling normal.
Yeah. So like, obviously we're looking at all the stuff, right? So, standard stuff like blood counts, kidney and liver, obviously, cholesterol panels, blood sugar, inflammation markers, nutrients, toxins, chronic infections, like all the stuff, right? And we take all the hormones too, right? So like your adrenal, your thyroid, your male and female hormones, all the things. And we, and that's just blood work, right? But depending on what else that person has going on, let's say they have some gut symptoms, then we may be doing a stool study or a breath test or both, like looking to see what's going on there, because there's a gut everything connection, right? About 80% of the immune system.
What do they do, like poop in a bag?
Poop. Yeah, poop. It's not a bag. You know what it reminds me of? Like these things that you collect the stool in. It reminds me of like a fries or nachos thing at like a ball game. That's you actually collect it in that. And then you're taking it and putting it in little vials and sending it out. Yeah. Super fun. Clearly, I've done all these things I ask everyone to do.
I swear my dude, you know Troy Casey is? Mm-mm. He's certified health nut on Instagram. He's a wild.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's fucking, I've had him on here.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, wild boy. He doesn't go to doctors anymore, I don't think at all. I mean, he knows enough people to.
Sure.
But he's just like, what did he say the two things he looks at? His poop and something else. Like, that's how he's like, know if I feel good.
Yeah.
Like, he's out, like, doing all kinds. He's doing alternative medicine.
Urine samples. Like, there's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, but he's a huge, like, poop guy.
Yeah.
Like, looks at his poop of, like, that's the indicator of, like, if I'm good or not.
Yeah.
Is my shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, again, most people don't even know what their poop should look like.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah. Or, like, this is where you have to ask good questions, right? If you'd be like, do you have any, symptoms or whatever? Or are you, how are your bowel movements? And people, they're okay. And then the next question is, okay, well, how often are you having them?
Oh, dude.
Because some people think it's normal to like not poop for 3 days or 4 days or something. And I'm like, that's their normal. So they're feeling fine, but it's not like, dude, right. You should have a bowel movement.
I have so many poop stories, dude. Oh my God. You read the book, Everybody Poops. You've all read it.
Yeah.
She's a doctor actually here. And I remember we looked at her food. There's two stories. One, the second one's really bad. But I remember we looked at her stuff. She was eating like no fiber a day.
Yeah.
Like literally with like
Yeah.
about 10 grams.
Yeah.
And that's my first question. Like, how often are you taking a shit? No joke. Once a week.
Yeah.
This is a
Not okay.
medical doctor.
Yeah,
And I'm
not
like,
okay.
at your physical, like, what do they say to you? She's like, I haven't had one in 7 years.
Yeah.
This is a medical
No, I
fucking
know.
person.
Yeah.
Then I had a buddy of mine. He runs a, like, similar to your type place, like a natural
Mm-hmm.
path medicine. And obviously they have people on there who are doing GLP-1s, Ozempic,
Sure.
all that stuff. And
Yeah.
we'll talk about that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He got a lady who came to him who was on him from wherever, insert whatever pill mill she went to and got him. This lady was taking a shit, dude, like every couple weeks. Because I believe one of the side effects of the drugs was that on top of everything else.
Sure.
And then he got her to shit, I think, like every 3 days. And that was like, I want to say
miracle.
it was like,
Yeah.
like every 3 weeks or something. Like it was almost
Something
unbelievable.
Bananas. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that possible?
Yeah.
You cannot take a dump for fucking 3 weeks?
Yeah. Yeah, if you're not eating a lot or no fiber and you have or a motility issue. So this is where the testing we literally just talked about, right? Like stool studies and like a breath test looking for something called SIBO and EMO, like, it's fixing the problem, fixing the root cause.
People really think it's normal not to shit every day?
It's crazy. Like some people,
I'd probably have a
that's
panic
just how
attack.
that's just how
I'd
they,
panic.
yeah.
You went days without taking a dump? It's just in your body.
Yeah. And you don't
Just cooking in
you
there.
don't feel good, like as
No.
it turns out. So once you get these people pooping more often, they're like, oh, I have more energy. Like it's amazing how like just putting some effort into that can, change someone's health and how they feel.
And the fiber can fuck with the cholesterol numbers too.
Totally. Like
And
it's
help
all
that.
see, that's the thing. Like none of this stuff is in a vacuum with like one body system, right? It's like
Yeah.
they all affect.
Do you think
Yeah.
a lot of general doctors, even at this point, like when they look at cholesterol, they even mention that? Like, do they even make the connection of like, hey man, what is your fiber count? Would they even ask that?
I think there
Some
are
do.
some that would care about diet, but then as you know, if we start talking about nutrition, oh my God, like all over the board, right? As far as like what the recommendations are for XYZ different conditions. And P.S., there's like really good research to support a lot of the different opinions. So it's not like, but yeah, I think, some of the, traditional docs may counsel patients on diet a little bit, but they don't have, like we talked about earlier, they don't have a lot of time to, get into the devil of the details. The average patient probably is like, well, I don't even know what fiber is. Right? Or like they, you know what I mean?
Oh.
Like, right? They just don't even know, or they don't even know or they think they're, eating their cereal or their bread is like, that's where they're getting their fiber. And it's like, oh, okay.
Dude, I've written more
You know.
about chia seeds and fiber and poop than any like normal rational person would. And I had a guy here.
It's like amazing.
Yeah, I've had a guy here like maybe a year ago. He's been here for like 7 years. And he like read one of the emails we sent out. And he's like, oh, I didn't know blackberries had fiber in them. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't
Highest fiber berry.
we didn't know
Absolutely,
like
yeah.
fruit in general is fiber in it. Like we didn't fucking just know that as like a baseline. Like
Yeah, right.
that's where
or
I'm like,
vegetable. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, we're fucked, dude.
Or people think the other one I see a lot is like people will be like, oh, I'm eating a big salad. And I was like, okay, let's talk about lettuce for a moment. Right. There's like just about no nutritional value in it. And like there really isn't fiber in it. So
No.
like sometimes people think, they're doing, and it's not that they're doing bad, but like
In the volume
they're not
you
getting
would
the
have
fiber.
to eat.
Oh,
Dude, like a bag of cauliflower rice is like, I don't know, 4 grams of fiber for a whole fucking bag. Like that's nothing.
or like you look at those like big spinach containers. I think it's like 2 grams of fiber and like 1 or 2 and 20 calories for like the whole thing.
That
It's
sucks,
like,
dude.
yeah. So like education.
Yeah.
This is where they're talking about like what are the high dietary fiber foods and how do we get it in? And if we can't get it in, can we supplement with something?
So you take them through all that, and then if the hormones are like whacked, how does that look for each one?
So
I'm sure case by case.
Totally. But like the first thing we want to do is look at root causes, right? And so it's like to our conversation already, what are they doing for nutrition? What are they doing for sleep? What are they doing for exercise? What's their stress? And what can we do to intervene on all of those? And then the other things in the labs, right? It's like, are there nutrient deficiencies that are contributing to hormone imbalances? Also, so we try to do our best to essentially fix all of those root causes first. And I see this with, especially with males, guys with lower testosterone levels. You have sleep apnea until you show me a sleep study that says you don't. It's that common of a root cause. And so it's like, I can do all these. In that case, it's like, man, I can do all the things, quote, fix everything. But then, if they're not getting enough good quality sleep, their oxygen levels are dropping. At night, it's a huge stress on the body. Like how much better are we going to get? Right. So really figuring out, trying to figure out why is the dysfunction happening and fixing that. Because a lot of times you can, make pretty good improvements, getting all those things on track, and you may not have to intervene, with much more. But, a lot of times we are having to do some, herbals, there's some herbals that can help, for example. But then obviously there's prescriptions. And in the case of male testosterone, it's like, can we, give you something to make you make more testosterone, like a clomiphene or enclomiphene kind of a thing, before marrying you to, testosterone therapy, like, injections or, topicals and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we try to fix it naturally if at all possible. But sometimes the dysfunction's been going on so long, even after fixing, all of the, possible root causes, or people usually get, somewhat better, but not all the way there. It is what it is. And then, obviously women going through menopause, that's not under your control, really. Your estrogen's going to go see you at some point. And, so we got to replacing it is really helpful.
Yeah. And do some people, everybody feels that at some point. Every woman knows, when it happens.
What's crazy though? It's all over the board. There's some women, my mom was a perfect example. She went through menopause at age 57. And when I asked her about it, she's like, I think I remember having maybe a few hot flat, it was nothing. She was trying to remember it. And then there's other women that are like you see in the movies, which is they're sweating, peeling clothes off, having to change their pajamas and their sheets and all this stuff, and super red in the face. So it can be a really profound, thing, very symptomatic that people, women go through, or it can be kind of not a big deal, and it's all over the board. And how long that process lasts is also all over the board. So for some women, they go through, maybe it's just 6 months or something if you're really super, super lucky. But for most women, it's more of a year or two long process, and for some, it's even more prolonged than that.
And so when you're in it, obviously you can talk all the behavior mod stuff, but you're just on a journey.
Totally.
At that point, it's hey, we got to replace something that's gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's kind of the only.
Absolutely.
There's no other answer.
Yeah,
at that point.
your ovaries aren't making estrogen anymore, and so you're not ovulating, so your progesterone's not you're not getting those progesterone spikes anymore either, and you lose you use a chunk of your testosterone making ability when your ovaries aren't working anymore, and so on. So we gotta. For some women, it's doing hormone replacement therapy, bioidentical. Of course, we obviously, don't want to use synthetics. Can be really helpful and life-changing. And the research studies are very good on, all the things that bioidentical hormone replacement for women helps prevent, right? So, cardiovascular disease, dementia, even cancers. The old data on the synthetic hormone replacements were terrible. The Women's Health Initiative studies when they were using synthetics.
Yeah.
Breast cancer rates were through the roof, and then through that, obviously mostly no one's prescribing the synthetics anymore, and so going bioidentical, and the research studies that are out there now are really pro on it. Being a really good, helpful anti-aging longevity strategy too.
And what does it take? A couple months from them to go from a bag of shit to feeling better?
That's also all over the board, right?
Depends on the person.
Yeah, totally depends on the person. But when you start doing hormone, yes, and because we have to dial in the dose too. So you start with a dose, and you see what happens and check labs, and so it's always a combination of labs and symptoms. That's another key thing with any hormone replacement therapy. It's not just all about the lab number, because sometimes you can make someone's lab numbers look pretty and they still feel like crap. So it's what are you doing? And vice versa. It's sometimes people feel really good, but maybe they're under what you think, a good, healthy number for whatever it is, that whether it's testosterone or, estrogen, estradiol is, but they feel really good. And so, so you just really have to combine labs and symptoms.
We had to, because and I know obviously the male stuff more than the female, because I am a dude and we have a ton of dudes here. But when you look at depending on what testing you're doing, if it's total testosterone for dudes, anywhere from 300 to 800-ish, 900-ish is the range.
Yeah. Even lower. Most labs, it's 2 something is quote normal.
That's 2 different humans.
Yeah. Totally.
You're not even the same fucking, because there's dudes here. Well, but also it is how you feel. I get that. There's dudes here that their stuff's at 450 and they feel fine.
Yeah.
And there's dudes here that's about the same and they feel like a bag of shit.
Yeah.
But to
'Cause
say
it's
like,
all relative. It's like, where were they? Like, you know what I mean?
and what is like, I only know from how I feel. So if someone's like, well, Jeremy, I'm like, well, I think I feel good every day, but I don't know how you feel or Sean feels. So if I traded, maybe that would feel worse or better. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I only know what this is, and I only
Yeah.
know what I used to be versus now. So I'm comparing, am I comparing to me 5 years ago or prime me? Like
Yeah.
that becomes a thing too. But when I look at that scale, because I've seen, there's been dudes here that are at like 130. They're fucked.
Yeah.
At that
you
point.
really, like the risks, like for all, right, cardiovascular disease, all the stuff goes goes
Yeah.
up when your testosterone's tanked.
And
Yeah.
just like straight depression. You get
Totally.
dudes here that are
Yeah.
just they're literally a trash can.
Yeah.
And then they go from that to 700 and they're a fucking new person.
Yeah.
But to think that like that's the scale when you go to your general doctor and be like, oh, yeah, I feel tired, this, you're at 277. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's like acceptable as like normal to me.
Totally. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like when did that scale get made?
Yeah,
It
I
seems
know.
like that shit should be updated.
Well, you know what's crazy though, for like how they got most of the lab normals for anything is like just kind of almost like population based. And so it's funny over because I've been doing this long enough now to have seen some of the lab ranges for certain things change, and it's kind of like, why did they make that level higher? Like like randomly, and it's like, is it because like the general population is sicker and like they're, you know what I'm saying? Like they're kind of population adjusting
Oh, fuck yeah,
sometimes for
dude.
those things. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, maybe that's not good. Like because of the population, like we talked about at the beginning, like, being sicker and fatter, it's not ideal. It's not optimal.
Well, no, I wonder too, because like when you, and again, this is like a cholesterol, for example. A lot of times people just kind of coach to a number. That's it. If we take
no
this
way.
if we take this
Yeah.
drug, we'll get you to this number, and it's like, well, the risk, nothing is free. It's the Thanos. What did it cost you? Everything. It's like everything is risk reward. So there's always something, and I don't mean there's certain things where it's very minimal, if nothing, and maybe the cost is just money at times, or it's inconvenience of giving yourself injections or whatever the fuck it may be. But like that's a thing where that number, I would like to know, like, why is that the number? Is it ever going to be revised? And why do we have to coach to that? Because I think that happens too. We have people who are sell statins. I work for AstraZeneca and Pfizer and shit. And so we kind of get to hear both sides of the
Yeah.
fence. So I think people go in, hey, my cholesterol's high, pretty much every fucking fit dude I've ever met. And then it's like, well, they want to give you this drug. And I'm like, I don't know, bro.
Yeah. 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 This is where you have to talk about all the details. What's that person's family history? And then who are they? Meaning, like, what are they doing for nutrition, sleep, exercise, stress, toxins, all the lifestyle factors? What are their risk factors? And like looking under the hood. So a regular lipid panel, the one that you get just your total cholesterol, your HDL, your LDL, your triglycerides, your VLDL, that's a good basic starter. But then looking at some of the advanced lipid markers to further stratify risk, like what types of cholesterol you're making, what are the particle sizes, and do you have other things that are risk factors like LP little a, lipoprotein A? That's another independent risk factor for cardiovascular disease that just about nothing can change, lifestyle included.
Because one of
And
mine
so
is like that. Like, what is it? There's a B one too.
there's apolipoprotein,
Yeah, I don't know
ApoB
enough.
and ApoA1 and like ox-LDL, small
Yeah.
I mean, there's a huge list of so like looking under the hood and then doing some other imaging studies, like really basic, coronary calcium score, although that assesses like how much calcium, that you've laid down in the coronary arteries, but it takes time for calcium to form. So when you do these scans under age 60, you could get like a clean bill of health essentially. And you'd be like, hey, but that didn't assess soft plaques. Like there may be some soft plaques sitting there. And soft plaques are the ones that you hear, killing this, healthy 45-year-old is dropped dead. It's because like a soft plaque flicked off in an artery and like blocked the road completely. And so no blood flow, right? It's like a big chunk of their heart muscle dies because it's not getting blood
And that's
flow.
just like luck of the draw.
Yeah. And then the calcium, well, is it?
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Right. Well, so a lot of things have led up to that problem happening, right? And so as
sure.
you're starting to lay down these, soft plaques, they're like, squishier and like essentially take up more room in the blood vessel. So like the blood vessel, starts getting narrowed, and then now you've got a street like this, right, instead of this, and then a piece flicks off. If a piece flicked off through a big thing here, it's not as big of a deal as if here, because then that small piece, boom, like it's completely occluded. So looking at some other, like there's a really cool test that's been out for a couple of years, probably maybe 2 or 3 years now, called the Clearly scan, Cleerly, and it's another cardiac CT scan, but it looks at not just calcium, but it does look at the soft plaques. It's kind of like the closest thing you can get to doing a cardiac cath without like actually doing a cardiac cath. So there are things you can do to further assess your risk, because to your point, you can, and I've done enough of these over the years where even sometimes looking at the blood work, we're like, ooh, like maybe there's some high risk markers there. And then you go ahead and do some physical stuff, meaning like looking at this Clearly scan, or, send them to the cardiologist. They do an EKG, an echo, the ultrasound of the heart, and check all this stuff. And it's like, boom, there's no disease there at all. Sweet. Like that's great.
Yeah.
So just because it looks one way doesn't mean, now the opposite is also true, right? We know 50% or more of all heart attacks and strokes happen in patients with normal cholesterol levels, right? So you could do the regular lipid panel and be like, oh, look, someone's LDL is 70 or 80, let's say. It's below 100, so it's, quote, normal, right? Massive amounts of calcium, and or, they've had a heart attack or stroke once, that was the first event that made them, get a cardiac evaluation. So you just can't look at the labs and say, like, this is definitely your risk. Right. But it's just not as simple as that.
No. And like, even again, like every test, there's like usually there's an offshoot of it. So like when you go, again, I've had it before where the cholesterol thing for sure, but even my stuff, like, hey man, your creatinine level's high because this, and so you go down that road for like the EGFR stuff or like cystatin C, like there's all those little.
Exactly.
But again, if you didn't know that and you're a normal person, like I used to be, that's why I used to call it like when you're in the matrix, right? Yeah. Then you get unplugged and you're like, yeah, fuck these guys. Just because it's like you'd have this belief of like, oh, they're telling me that, like anytime a doctor, that's why again, I hate going to the doctor, no offense. Just for the fact of like, it's never like, what are you going to tell me? Like, you're fine.
Yeah.
But the best case scenario is I walk out the same as I came in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just negative shit, right? Because especially you get your LabCorp stuff, like me, you can just log on. You get it before your doctor does, or the same time, but you're going to check it before they do. I'm smart enough to read the shit, and if I can't, I can chat GPT it, like, and pretend I'm a doctor, and at least like understand like what could possibly, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're that person, it's like, well, that's what I'm going to go get when I go there. So that's my point. Is like, I guess I used to read that stuff and take it as like, okay, this is the end all be all, and now I'm like, well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Let me talk with them and let me see what the game plan will be. But with all that said, if you're already doing the things, now I'm kind of like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for the chart. This is where I'm at 41, and we'll look at it later on.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to, if I was smoking like 2 packs of cigs a day.
Right, your lifestyle, exactly, who you are.
But dog, like, I'm not eating any better.
Yeah. And then there's like, obviously, let us not forget the impact of genetics, right? And so sometimes
it just is.
It's like, try as you might. I have a patient who reminds me a lot of you, and it's like, looking at his coronary calcium score, it's like we checked it and it wasn't that, it was under 100, right? So under 100, most cardiologists would be like, like no big deal. But this guy in his 40s, right? Super fit, like does all the stuff. And then like we checked it. I was like, okay, well, let's check it a couple years later just to see, like, is it the same? What's happening? And it was like, ooh, in that one area, it like doubled in a couple years. And like this guy has immaculate lifestyle factors, right? And so it's like there's a genetic component in there.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's, it's like unfortunate. It's like the cards you were dealt, you know?
Like, what are you going to tell him? Hey, man, like, there's nothing you're going to tell him. It's like sports. Like, LeBron's going to be LeBron, dude. You're not him.
Yeah.
You're not 6'8", 260, and you can't jump off a trampoline.
100%.
Like, and it's hard for people to hear, I think, especially people like who listen to this. You're a fit person. You want, like my wife, she's a high achiever. She like wants to like win. I'm like, you can't really win your blood work, dude. You know what I mean? Like how do I, and you can manipulate it. Don't get me wrong.
It's funny that you say that. Yeah. Yeah.
But people like, that's why I'm not and I love the DEXA Fit place, like shout out to Chris, but people go to a DEXA scan and they want to like, I'm going to beat it, or like the VO2 max testing, and you want to be, but sometimes, dude, you're just going to, it's like like even your visceral fat, right? You can't pick and choose that. There's lifestyle factors for sure, but overall, like, you can't just all of a sudden eat a certain way and say, I'm going to lose just visceral fat. I'm going to lose just fat on my stomach. I want to
lose just fat here. Yeah, totally.
You can't, dude.
Can't spot train.
That's your mom, your dad, God, whatever you want to believe in.
Yeah.
And that's tough for people to kind of accept that, because like, hey, I've done all the things right. I'm like, yeah, but my grandma never exercised and drank wine and ate cookies every day and she died shredded. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
Yeah. There's some, genetics is a big one in there too. And it's kind of like try as you might, it's like it's not to say you give up, right? It's like you still want to do all the healthy things, right? You still want to reduce your risk for whatever it is, whether it's heart disease or, type 2 diabetes, or there's, morbid obesity in your family, all these things. It's like it's just the cards you were dealt. And so because I have these conversations with patients all the time where it's like, I'm doing all these things. And you look over at your friend who's like super skinny, eating a cheeseburger and beer. They look great. They're shredded. But it's like, if you did that, like you would gain 3 pounds, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm sorry. And I truly am, because I'm also that person.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's like, it's just the cards you were dealt. And it's like, so we have to, what do? It's like, if you say screw it, then you're going to unfortunately probably suffer more health consequences than that other person because of the genetics that the cards you were dealt, essentially. So it's not to say you can't do anything. Of course you can reduce your risk. You still can. And that's what you want to do, is do everything. You have to work even harder than the average person to get the same results.
For sure. But there's always like, you have something that everybody has something.
Yeah.
Like you either can build muscle faster, or, they can get shredded faster, or
Totally.
genetically you have more power versus endurance. Like there's always unless you really got fucked, which some people do, like you get completely screwed. And then some people like kind of win everything. I go, but those are the unicorns.
Yeah, right.
Most people are somewhere in between. But with the genetics too, even with like drug intake, like in the bodybuilding world, the dudes that do the best, it's like, their muscle bellies and certain origin points. They're typically, their legs are a little bit longer than the upper, so the proportions look better. But it's like, how much drugs can they take before they die?
Yeah.
Those dudes tend to obviously do better. The same way there's guys who can do meth for fucking 30 years and then stop and like they're fine.
Yeah.
Like that is a huge piece. And some people, like Sean, like, like some people just get away with it and some people can't.
Yeah.
And that's hard for people to, but it's like having, like, you can run a mile faster, you can't. You have knockout power or you don't. Like, it's just luck of the draw.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you work with these guys on all those types of things, and I'll touch on this just because it's popular, like the peptides have become insanely popular, and we can either go the ones you do outside of the GLP-1 shit, or we can talk about those, or how you prescribe it, or how you, I guess, work with people and do it. Because obviously in the fitness world, it's people have their opinions about everything.
Totally. Yeah.
And
to me, like the first conversation starts with like sourcing of them, and like making sure they're coming from a good, reputable source, because there's a lot of.
And for people who don't know, like when I say peptides, just give your broad strokes.
So, I mean, like on a very basic level, a peptide is just like it's essentially a chain of amino acids, right? And so, to give an example, insulin is considered a peptide. A lot of our hormones are actually considered peptides, and so on. So there are things that your body naturally makes, but we are giving them at. In the case of GLP-1s, this is a great example, giving that, or we make some GLP-1s naturally, but we're giving them at higher dosages to achieve something, right? And in the case of the GLP-1s, it's like, it's for me, in my patient population, it's not just about body fat. I mean, like the weight loss is great, but when I see their labs, it's like, boom, blood sugar, cholesterol, inflammation. And then we, talk about symptoms. It's like, less aches and pains, less allergic responses, less anything inflammatory. Right. And so it's working on all kinds of other, pathways. But you definitely, anyone on a GLP-1, if you're being prescribed it responsibly, it's like you have to know you've got to eat enough dietary protein. It's like protein and vegetables and fiber. Like that's your major dietary concentration while you're on it, staying well hydrated, right? Because we don't want muscle mass loss. There's some people that, I say this all the time to my patients. It's like, you don't want to go from eating a bowl of macaroni and cheese to eating a bowl of macaroni and cheese because the GLP-1 has decreased your appetite. Yeah, you'll lose weight, but you're probably going to lose muscle mass with it. And you're not going to be a healthier person.
No.
Like some things will change. Some biomarkers will change for the positive, but we want to use it as an opportunity to create the healthy habit so that the food noise goes away. So you're able to make decisions like, hey, instead of going to get, takeout for pizza, I'm going to go home and eat the broccoli and salmon that's in my fridge because it's the right thing to do. It takes away, it helps. So the GLP-1 family, I find to be really helpful. Obviously it's FDA approved for obesity and type 2 diabetes and sleep apnea, but we're using it for, all kinds of other, you do like the micro dosing essentially, right? So like doing a dose that's not, one of the like traditional pharmaceutical, dosages.
What's the other, like tirzepatide is like the
Yeah,
other?
so there's semaglutide and tirzepatide are the two that are out, and then there's a third one called retatrutide I think it's scheduled to be out maybe in 2027. I think it's in phase 3 trials right now, if I remember correctly. But that works on 3 receptors versus 2, like tirzepatide, and semaglutide is just a straight GLP-1.
It just makes you less hungry.
Yeah,
Or like that's the big.
yes, but like I know it's not as easy as that, right? It like slows, gastric emptying, so you're fuller faster, and it really does. It's the GLP-1s are also being studied for addiction. Like it changes your brain chemistry. Like food is an addiction, just like your drugs and alcohol, and so it's also being studied in those in those realms as well.
And so they'd have to do it forever.
So that's a great question. There are some people that that are able to get it together, let's say, while they're on the GLP-1. They use it as a great opportunity to
change habits,
get their food dialed in, their exercise, their sleep, get all their stuff dialed in. And then once they're got their goal weight, the name of the game is like, what's the lowest dose that keeps you there? Or can we, get you completely off? Because truthfully, when someone comes off a GLP-1, the appetite does come back. So if you're food cravings, if you give into the food cravings of like, I'm going to get pizza on the way home instead of eating my broccoli and salmon, like what do you think will happen? Right. Yeah. Just like any diet, because people are, some of the, criticism is, oh, like you'll regain the weight. It's like, yeah, dude, you'll regain the weight with no matter what plan you do if you go off it. Like that's just what happens.
That would be the all-time saying here. People would say like back in the day before obviously AI could do this shit in 10 seconds. Now it's AI is going to cook us all, dude. It's just wild. But back in the day, like, hey, can you make me like a meal plan for this? I'm like, no, we can't. And they're like, why? I'm like, because it doesn't fucking work, dude. Like, it can help you if you follow it to a T, but on Wednesday, when your life isn't going perfect and you don't have access to this stuff, like, you have to know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
So we can give you like an outline. I go, but overall, you have to learn the skill.
Yes.
And they would, people would, and they would say, well, once I'm going to eat this way once I get to my goal weight or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then once I'm done, then I go, no.
It's a lifestyle change.
And dude, you'll be older. So you actually can do less. Just so we're clear. Yeah. Like it gets fucking worse as you get older.
And this is where like, health coaching and nutrition coaching, like, that's where those, people come into play really key in the practice is like getting people that they're getting them the real education so that, like you said, they can be like, okay, well, I'm super hungry. It's a Wednesday. I don't have time to go to the store and get all the ingredients and then cook everything, but I can stop at, XYZ and get, like, I know I can get a protein and a veggie and some, and some healthy fats in there and a little bit of teaching them like how they can build their own healthy meal, whatever it is for them, which is, as you know, different for everybody.
No, I know. And
but
like, with
teaching a skill.
Like the GLP-1 stuff too, like when I look at it, like if you're, I think Chris was saying this last time he was here, like, and they have people do it, like their doctors will send them to do DEXA scans before. The smart ones anyway, which makes sense. That's why the in-body stuff makes sense to me.
Totally, absolutely.
The fact that people could jump on them and without doing those beforehand and like during and after seems fucking wild to me.
Yeah.
Because you can't measure the loss. And I want to say he gave an example of like if you were like 200 pounds and like a smaller, like a female, and you lost, 60 pounds, but 30 of it was muscle. He's like, you're not healthier at the end of it because the muscle loss is so dramatic. Mm-hmm. Like to build that back over time would be damn near fucking impossible. And I don't mean that in a negative way.
Yeah.
But I'm saying this as a dude in his 40s. Like it's so much easier to drop weight and even to drop fat in all reality than to build like legit tissue.
Yeah.
Like to create enough damage. Yeah. Like for hypertrophy to build and then in the bone density that goes with that.
Totally.
That's the hard part too. So like I'm sure like the people you see, but again, it's the Wild West out there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people who just jump on these where there's no behavior mod,
right.
There's no DEXA scan,
there's no body count checking, yeah.
And I'm like, dude, especially if you don't, and I don't want to say this to be an asshole. Let me say this probably later. Like it's Scottsdale, right? There's fucking people, dude, like chewing Ozempic that have no fucking business taking it.
Yeah.
To lose, hey, I want to be 10 pounds less or 15 pounds less. And they lose it, but it's not fat, dude.
Yeah.
Like you can see it.
Yeah.
And that's a crazy, like, is there any way you can't fix it. It's just once it's out there, it's like, hey, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, right. Like once it's done, like all you can do is try to like, be like, all right, let's focus on protein. Let's get you like lifting heavy. Let's get you on some creatine at the very least, if not, some other stuff. Right. And so that's where sometimes some of the other peptides can come in, like the GHRHs, GHRPs, like things like CJC, IPA, sermorelin, those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Can.
Do you commonly like do them together? It just depends on the person.
It just depends on the person. To be totally honest, like knock on wood with the GLP-1s, because of how, I've got it set up with my patients, we have very little
like you
muscle
talked to him,
mass
you
loss.
talked to him before.
Oh, we have a full conversation about it. And not only that, like literally I make them every single week, they're writing in what's their weight and how are they feeling. And then I make them come in and do an in-body once a month, because I want, like, great if there's weight loss, but like what is it though? Like, right, we obviously want to make sure it's mostly fat. But those that are super obese, if you've ever checked scans on those guys, like they have a shit ton of muscle, right? They have a lot of muscle mass. And so as they lose their weight, they may lose some muscle mass, which, it's like we don't want muscle mass loss if at all possible, but if it means they lose 100 pounds of body fat and they you know what I mean? Like all their health markers get better, their visceral fat changes, like it's acceptable, right? Because they're still a much healthier person. But throughout the process, for the average human, let's say, we definitely want to make sure we're, minimizing muscle mass loss and like doing everything we can to keep it.
It's going to happen anyway. Like there's there's not, even if you're on the best fucking gear in the world.
It's a kind of a magic trick to only lose body fat, right?
It's impossible. Like the guys who are on the most drugs that have ever existed, even they'll lose tissue.
Totally.
Like that's why I don't think people get, like, when you watch like Mr. Olympia, which now has become its own thing, like that's the smallest those guys ever are. Yeah. It's hard to wrap your mind around. I go, but they're bigger than that the whole year. Yeah. They have more fat and more muscle. Yeah. They cut down to that. Yeah. And that's essentially like what you're doing when you take these drugs, and in hopes of you're losing. I guess, is there like a percentage that you guys look for, or there's just like a certain, like, what's the, if someone was to come in and you're like, hey man, you're losing half of this as muscle, like this is fucked.
Yeah. Knock on wood, rarely happens because we're counseling really good on it.
Is it
we have,
men and women?
Men and women both. But when it does happen, it's like when you start talking to people, like there's like one patient that stands out that it's like, I've had this conversation multiple times. I'm like, more protein, lift, and then just life gets in the way like that. It's just kind of like not happening kind of a thing. But those are more the rare cases. Like most people, when they go on it, like, because I'm impressing upon them the importance of it, like over and over again.
Like Scared Straight.
Yeah. It's like we're, making sure. And again, because they write in every week. So staying connected with like what's going on, and also keeping the dose, the lowest dose possible that keeps people losing weight and feeling good. Right. So it's like, you don't need to keep pushing the dose up, because sometimes patients will come in, they've come in from like a weight loss clinic or something that's like, oh, you're nauseous, like let me prescribe you some anti-nausea, like some Zofran or whatever, and it's like you're covering up a bad side effect. It's like, well, hold on, like why is it happening? Like, are you dehydrated? Are you not eating enough? Are you, like, what is going on with you? Like, is the dose too high? Do we need to lower the dose instead of like, covering it up with, okay, so you don't get nauseous anymore, but all the things that are making you nauseous are problems.
And like when you get it from, because the general practitioners prescribe it too, I assume. And what is that like? Just like, hey, take it and see you in a year?
Yeah, I think it varies. I'm not sure. Like, I mean,
because insurance pays for it up to a certain point.
Well,
right?
if it's everyone's insurance, as you know, it's like so different. Everyone's insurances are different. Some insurances, only cover for certain conditions. Others don't even review that class of medications, and it's all over the board. Yeah. But and I think, to your point, the supervision of it, I think, varies a lot. To me, it's like for me, the weekly check-in, especially the first few months someone is on it, like once someone's really dialed in, like I still need to hear from them every 4 weeks, and I want them coming in and doing an in-body every month, because I want to see what's going on. Because sometimes people will like almost lose too much weight, and I was like, oh, we're good. We got to start lowering the dose, because now you're starting to peel off a tiny bit of muscle mass. So like knowing when to stop and like dial it back is also important.
Is there ever people, and most of them, it's obese, like they're bigger and they just need to drop the weight? Because and the way I look at it is, if I was 400 pounds in my options and I've tried whatever that means.
Right.
Like you've tried all the things, and first, again, there's genetics is real. There's some people
Yeah.
just you're fucking
Yeah.
bigger, dude. Like
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar's Brock Lesnar.
Or whatever you did, like that is created the metabolic picture you have sitting in front of you right then, and you have to do something to undo it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, well, because they've had that too, right? Where they take like gut bacteria from like a person who's
Totally.
legit.
Yes, yes.
Like if it was mine, and then give it to like someone who's 600 pounds.
Yeah.
And you'd like, I would help him, and he would fuck me up if it was like
Totally.
transferred him,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
So you've created it, and I think Amy Shaw was on here talking about that too, like how you could essentially like a food you would eat. I swear she said this. Like you'd be eating a certain like foods for a long time, and your environment's just dog shit. And then you fix the environment, like your gut microbiome, whatever. You make that healthy, and then the stuff that maybe you used to eat that would bug you now doesn't bug you anymore because your entire environment is different than it used to be.
Yeah.
So I guess when you look at that, like those guys. So if I was 400 pounds, the 400 pounds is going to kill me way before any of the fucking drug side effects.
Yeah.
So that makes sense to me. If it's the people who you see them where, and I'll generalize here, I haven't met a lot of dudes who are small and just was like, let me take these to be smaller.
Yeah.
I haven't seen. I'm sure it exists. I've just never fucking seen it.
Right. Yeah.
Women,
That's
I've
not
seen
what
it
I'm seeing either.
all day.
Okay.
So if you know what I'm saying? Because like if it was really the best like fat loss thing ever, every dude would take it.
Sure.
Like at scale to be ripped, and probably a smaller dose, and probably not.
And that's yes. Yep.
Yeah, like tirzepatide or something versus like semaglutide. But if you had a female who was, hey, I'm 100 and, I'm 5'8", I'm 140 pounds, I want to jump on this. It's not an option for you.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes if you're resourceful enough, there's a doctor who will give it to you.
Sure.
100%.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
if you had that, like how would you just be like, hey man, it's not worth it for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And by the way, no matter who you are, why you're going on the medication, we have a risk benefit talk before starting. Like, here's all the potential benefits, but P.S. here's all the potential risk. Like, here's what the black box warnings are, and here's what the studies are showing, and here's what could happen, and all those, right? So like we talk about, like you said earlier, it's kind of like no free lunch. It's like here's the potential downside, and P.S. these medications have not been out a long time, so I can't tell you no one can tell you what will happen if you're on it for 20 years or 30 years or whatever, right? Like we don't have that data yet.
Yeah.
So, but then you balance that with the flip side of like, hey, this is a medication that could help, you not be obese, not be type 2 diabetic, lower cholesterol, lower inflammation, lower blood pressure, like all the big killers, right? And so you gotta, pick a team.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch it from like the outside because it's almost like you can see it, like when it happens here for someone who doesn't really need it.
Yeah.
It's like a weight loss and not a way that they needed it.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
It's got to be healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not a yes for everyone. By the way, my patients are pretty cool. Like I can't think of one time where that example, kind of.
But they probably know you though too, right?
Yes.
Like they'd come, like, I don't say this like negatively, like you're going to go to a place where you can get it.
Yeah.
Like it's like a drug dealer.
Totally.
It's essentially what it's become.
Right.
Like it's the Wild West.
No,
Like,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. If you get a doctor who's like flexible, what's how the dude, like I have another hormone guy coming on here in a little while, deals with more of like a bigger scale, like the dudes who do real drugs, like steroids and shit.
Yeah.
So they're not just doing, if your hormone replacement is, let's say 150 milligrams a week, these guys are doing grams a day.
Yeah. Cray.
So that's
not in any way physiologic, even in the best case scenario.
No, your testosterone's at like 5,000. Like it's bonkers.
Yeah.
I go, but that's kind of how I look at someone who doesn't really need these things, who's a smaller person.
Yeah.
To lose 10 pounds yes, it's much harder for you to do it on your own, but that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Versus the people who really do need it.
Yeah. And it's the people that have tried like we're not jumping on it as a first thing, right? It's like we're very dialed in for like nutrition, sleep, exercise, stress toxins, all the labs. Like we've done all that stuff, optimized it all, and then there's still a struggle. Like that's, and like someone's maybe pre-diabetic so we are doing some outside of the they're not type 2 diabetic and their BMI's, maybe 29, it's not 30, so it doesn't meet the quote obesity BMI, which as we know, BMI is kind of BS anyway. Like are you obese?
I am,
yeah, exactly.
It's crazy because it's like, because I'm 6'2", 200 and like 8 pounds. That's obese.
Yeah, totally.
But it's weird because for most people, they do fit the average, like an average, they don't take it. it doesn't work for athletes.
No, totally not.
It works for like the general.
It does. It's exactly works
kind
for
of
the general
population.
population. But this is where looking at the body comp and the muscle mass comes into really important play.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's like that's what are you made of?
It's yeah, the GLP-1 stuff has been kind of wild to watch and see how it
And
unfolds.
it's like being studied for all kinds of other medical conditions too, like even at like the smaller dosages, like microdosing for, dementia and, all kinds of other things. So it's, and those are like that's a crowd, by the way, like you don't want them to lose weight. Like they are already like under eating and, sarcopenic. It's like so they're dosing it at super small doses to get the anti-inflammatory, type properties and effects of it. The goodness essentially without, the negativity of the, appetite suppression and so on.
Yeah. And I look at all of it. I'm a fan of like, do whatever works for you.
Yeah.
But it's like, for me, it's always like the risk and the reward. Like I wouldn't want to risk losing muscle tissue just because it's like, you have to die to get that. Like
Totally.
it's,
Yeah.
it's like when you work out and like you're squatting and you're pushing a slut, like you're doing the things like you're doing split squats. You're like, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And just to take something that would just like, I pictured it as like, it's just like erasing it.
Yeah.
Like that would suck
Yeah.
for me personally.
Even aside from the GLP-1s, like I know you have probably seen this too, where there's a lot of skinny fats walking around, right? There's a lot of people that maybe look great, they look good in their clothes, like, but then you do I see this all the time in my practice, like these super cute girls and stuff, like you do the body scan and you're like, ooh, you actually need to gain like 10 pounds of muscle and lose like 12 pounds of fat. Like, so your weight doesn't need to change that much, but like what you're made of, it needs a massive change for your health, for your longevity.
It's weird. It's like, to me, it's like looking rich versus being rich.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
You leased your Lamborghini, but you're broke as fuck and you're stressed every day.
Yeah.
Versus like you just drove an old Ford here, but like you have money. Like that's where I'm like, I would rather, and that's what you can't see that though. And that's where people look at it's the eye test of sports. There's guys like that play in the NBA that like you'd see him at the park. You're like, this guy's a bum, but he's a fucking Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
It's the same way when you like, oh, my friend looks great. It's like, well, and maybe they are, and like visceral fat might be shit, might be good.
Yeah.
But if you can't do anything with the body either, like you're not physically strong. And
right.
I guess when you see older people, like the patients you have that are older, my neighbor's 2 doors down, he's 100, drives his own car, lives on his own. That would be like, that's the ultimate end game. Now, he doesn't move fast. He's not strong. This is not his optimal. I go, but my hope would be I won't live that long, I'm sure. But if I did, I could fucking move and do something, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. Like if you're doing that scan and you don't have muscle at 39 years old, but you're like, you look good in your clothes and you're happy, I'm happy for you. But the end game for you is not good.
Correct. Yeah.
Like,
and we have serious conversations about that.
Yeah. Because it's so
Really
hard to get it back.
Yep.
Because it's crazy to me.
And study wise too, it's like if you look at like longevity, like morbidity and mortality, it's that the people that are slightly chunky, not obese, like not crazy, but have a little more to lose, fare really well relative to those that are like super skinny and sarcopenic, right? Like if God forbid they got hit by a car and had a massive trauma, or they got a really significant illness and had to go into the hospital, you don't have the muscle mass to lose. Like you ever look at the studies of what happens when someone's sitting around in a hospital bed? Holy, like the massive amount of muscle mass loss. It happens
crazy,
so
though.
like, yeah. And by the way, that's where like, doing some specific supplementation, like, creatine, amino acids, like HMB, all that stuff. Like there's good studies on that for the elderly population, even if they are sitting around, like actually is muscle sparing. But, getting to the skinny fat people, getting them to like really focus on, the health, like the longevity of it. And it's like, while it's so much easier to gain the muscle while the younger you are, essentially, right? It's like, do it now and make it a habit, because if you get sick or have to be hospitalized, you're not going to fare well. Studies are really clear on that.
You don't have the tissue to lose.
Yeah.
Like, so if you do have an injury and the muscle starts to atrophy, because they all do.
Yeah.
Even as quickly as like, I want to say like the hypertrophy, the data when you pull it, like if you're not even like touching it at least 2 times per week, typically like the atrophy can start to click off like within a week. Like if you're just not doing anything for a specific muscle group. Now, most of the time, like if you're generally active, like you'll keep the baseline level. But if you're like, hey, I'm in a cast or I rupture an Achilles, I do an ACL, now you're not moving at all. And when you look at that stuff, when you take it off of like a boot or something, like your leg looks like
Yeah. You can see like which leg was the injured leg and which
dude.
leg was the not, like the healthy one. Yeah.
it's disgusting. Yeah, and you don't have. And I think the stat is too. I want to say we just talked about this the other day. 50% of what is it? If you break a hip after 50,
Yeah.
like half those people are dead in like a year. It's something fucking it seems like it's fake.
Yeah.
The number.
Yeah.
I go, but it's so catastrophic. And if you look at that, like to your point, like if you're somebody who has more like tissue on the body versus someone who's completely frail, like when you look at that, and I talk about this all the time on here, from walking to a cane to a walker to a wheelchair to bedridden, that regression is insanely quick.
Yeah.
And they almost skip steps all the time.
Yeah.
And then for you to build muscle, whether male or female, obviously as a female, it is dramatically harder. It's why there's an NFL for dudes and women don't play in it because they would fucking die. I'm like, to build that muscle as a female in her 50s with no exogenous hormones introduced, tell me how.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like ice skating uphill.
It's tough. It's really tough.
Yeah. So that's I guess that's the one thing I do harp on with people. Like if you're gonna do this stuff, like do whatever's, but the having as much muscle on your body for as long as humanly possible, being as hard to kill as you can possibly be, and not even for what you look like.
Yeah. Muscle's a metabolic organ. Like it's not just.
It's your metabolism.
Yeah.
Yeah. The more that's the rich getting richer. Like the more jacked you can be, the better off you are.
Yeah.
20 to 40% after 50.
Die. Dude, that's fucking
Yeah.
nuts, bro.
Yeah.
50 is not like, we're not saying like 100.
Yeah. I
Like,
know.
that's
I'm
crazy.
49. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So if you broke your hip, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I go, but you'd have to fucking fall. I mean, when you rock climb, so you
Yeah.
probably could break your hip.
I do fall all the time.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like
I fall 3 times a week, many times actually.
Yeah, like I don't do crazy shit like that. That's wild though, dude. I'll ask you this. I'll get you out of here. Like, so since you do this for a living, obviously, like what is your kind of routine? Like, how do you go about your stuff? Like, kind of how do you eat? How do you train?
Yeah.
What's the sleep look like? All that stuff.
Yeah. So I need to be relatively low carb because that's just who I am. On my dad's side of the family, there was morbid obesity and type 2 diabetes. So if you let me eat what my brain wants me to eat, I can show you pictures. I have looked very different than I look right now. So it takes a lot of effort.
Like how were you big? Were you big before?
Huge.
Like
yeah.
how
yeah.
big?
So I'm like 112-ish right now.
You're not very tall.
I'm 5'1".
Yep.
Yeah. But I have weighed as much as like 165 pounds. And again, I'm only 5 feet tall. So you can imagine like it's yeah.
It's more than D'Lo weighs.
Yeah, right.
Wow, that's crazy.
I'll have to talk to him about that.
We
next
call
time.
him.
Yeah.
We call that victim weight. If you're under 200 pounds, you're victim weight.
Yep.
You're a zebra in the jungle just waiting to get slaughtered.
Yeah, totally. So if I so again for me it's like lower. I need to eat lower carb, higher protein, obviously, and lots of veggies, good fiber intake, healthy fats, all the stuff. So that's kind of like my baseline nutrition.
Like, what's your fiber go to? Chia seeds?
I love chia seeds, flax seeds, avocado. Like people forget that actual avocado itself has a decent amount of fiber.
Yeah.
I know we talked about blackberries earlier, but like I love my berries, so I'll do like a blueberry, raspberry, blackberry little combination, like most days of the week, once or twice, like after lunch, after dinner, as like a sweet thing. I do have a little bit of chocolate once or twice a day just because it keeps me sane.
Like a certain kind, or
Yeah, like I'll do like the organic 70% dark chocolate. Like I like some of the flavors. There's orange, there's like a almond cherry, and so on.
Yeah.
But just like that. And I love my herbal teas, so I just like to have that after dinner. But and then exercise, like obviously I'm lifting and rock climbing. So I'm lifting, like dedicated lifting twice a week, rock climbing 3 times a week. And if you've ever rock climbed, you are pulling and compressing, and it's kind of like you're lifting essentially like yourself the entire time. So that has been part of it. It was funny because prior to rock climbing, I was doing CrossFit a decent amount, and I like didn't have my pull up. I couldn't like get a pull up right, trying as I might try, and so like once I started rock climbing, I'll never forget the day I was in class, like using a band to like assisted pull-ups. And I was like, I don't think I need this anymore. Let me try it. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't need it anymore.
That's tight. Yeah.
But I wasn't trying, like, cause I was just climbing. I wasn't training pull-ups specifically, So anyway, so it's, so that's my, kind of workout situation. Like we're up first thing in the morning, seeing sunlight, walking the dog. So we get a little bit of movement in first morning sunlight. That's like part of like our routine.
Yeah.
And then like obviously sleep is super important to me. I am also a perimenopausal woman, so I have to do all the sleep routine stuff pretty tight and dialed in. So having a good wind down practice at night, so I'm doing a, meditation and, dimming the lights and all the stuff, taking all the little nighttime supplements and things.
What do you
magnesium
do?
and whatnot.
What do you take for sleep? Like what supplements?
I do a really yummy magnesium drink before bed pretty consistently, and other stuff might float. A lot of other stuff might float in and out of that. Just depends on how I'm feeling and the time of the year. Like right now, obviously the sun's up earlier, and so I will struggle a little bit more with sleeping past 5 a.m. just because of the sun, and so sometimes I'll add things like inositol or L-theanine or whatever else in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a long time I did magnesium. I want to say the glycine powder and then
magnesium,
inositol too.
glycine,
I did all three together.
Yeah.
There's a dude who sent me that. I forget who it was.
Yeah. Well, the glycine part helps lower body temperature a little bit, which is part of how, but to be fair, like I also, have a cooling mattress that I sleep on and like all the stuff, I have a bunch of fun toys and things that I've accumulated over the last decade.
Oh yeah. Sound machines. I got an eye mask.
Sauna,
I got a
red
whole
light, blah, blah. Yeah.
It's like, and with those things too, like if you want to call it like the biohacking shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you like it, do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's icing on the cake.
Yeah. And I know people get like, oh, do you do this? I'm like, and again, we have a sauna here and a cold plunge and all that shit. You couldn't pay me to do a cold plunge, bro. I mean, they did pay me. It was Ice Barrel did pay me to actually do it. So we did it. But short of that, I'm like, there's no fucking way.
Yeah.
Like I get more. It's just like a disgust.
You got to find your things.
Ugh.
Yeah, the things that appeal to you. That's the other thing, to talk about with patients. It's like, are all these things good for you? And there's also information overload, don't you feel like too? It's like you always are getting Instagram with this supplement or this biohacking tool or whatever, and you could make a good case for all of it. But do you need to be doing all of it? You know what I mean?
No, it's like a fire hydrant, and it should be like a water hose.
Yeah.
It's way too much, and it's the way I feel about and it's podcast too. And I say this to people too. I'm like, pick one or two that you're going to listen to, maybe religiously if that's your thing. But there's fucking two. Do you need to hear me talk anymore? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, does any of this? I feel like when I'm like, we obviously are still filming programs. Like Sean comes here, we film all this stuff. Like, you need to see me do another exercise video. Like, you need a fucking hole in the head. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, at this point, yeah.
And that's where I feel about, hey, you have to add all, like, when you look at these routines, I'm like, bro, there's no fucking way I could, like, I get up, like, tomorrow I'll be here by 5.
Yeah.
So I'm getting up at 4.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing the fucking sun till I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm not journaling. I'm not meditating. I'm going to take a shit, shower, and shave and fucking drive here.
Yeah.
That's my routine.
Yeah.
Welcome to Be Successful.
Yeah.
And I go, that works for me.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to do the other stuff, I think it's great. And there's a lot of pieces that I do. But to think like, I guess when you say it to a normal person or like your patients, they're like, well, fuck, I got to do all this on top of this. And I go, no, you really just have to fucking train and not eat like a trash can.
Totally.
The rest of it
Yes.
is like sprinkles on top of the whipped
Yes.
cream, on top of the icing,
Yes.
on top of the cake.
I have this conversation all the time, especially with supplements, because people are like, what? Like they want the magic, pill, the magic combination. And it's like,
Steroids.
They're literally called supplements.
Steroids
so like
are
they're
the magic.
supplemental. Yeah.
Yeah. Do steroids. That's it. We joke, like it's a joke. I want to say I think it was like Dan John was talking before me. Maybe it wasn't him. I'm going to say this wrong. It was years ago. And he's talking, it's all fitness people. And we're speaking and he's like, train hard for like 3 to 5 years, and see the results. And he's like, if it doesn't happen at that point, that's what PEDs are for, and he's fucking joking, but he's also like serious.
You're right,
It's just what it is. But no, to your point, like I do think people think that's why I do think they think of that like the GLP-1s, and I think of a lot of like, hey, this is the miracle thing, and go.
You still have to work hard while on it, by the way.
Yeah, dude.
If you're on an appropriate dose that's not making you feel like you're going to vomit, you still have to make. You still have to know what to eat, and you still have to lift, and you still have, right? Like,
yeah, I wouldn't tell you, like, obviously, like, AG1's the biggest sponsor of what we do here, and I think it's great. I go, but if you eat like shit all day, you're just flushing your money down the toilet. The same way I kind of feel about, hey, I'm going to invest in whether it's pre-workouts or creatines or whatever and do nothing.
Yeah.
I just don't think taking something and doing nothing is the answer.
Totally.
And I'm sure there's people out there who eat really well and never exercise. I've just never fucking met them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're more likely to find people who like train and eat shittier versus people who like do everything right and then
Yeah.
don't move around.
Yeah, at the very least, those people are active. Like, if you talk to them, they're like building something on their deck, or they're like landscape. Like, they're active. Like, they're doing something.
They
Yeah,
walk, they
agreed.
move,
Yeah.
they're not just sitting there. But I do think people think like supplements are like the miracle thing. And at best, like, I don't know the percentage, like maybe a 5% difference.
Yeah.
10 would be dramatic to me, like in terms of what you're doing.
Yeah.
But it's like if you're not already training with a certain level of intensity, depending on what the goal is for you,
Yeah.
and you're not giving your body all the things that it needs in terms of like real food, supplementing is
Yeah.
not the end all be
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. You got to do all the foundational stuff first.
So like in terms of that, like do you do like coffee, booze, any of that? Like what's your worst thing you do?
I mean, I do have a cup of coffee in the morning. I only have one cup, though. Man, alcohol, I have not really had
Nothing.
any in many years. And that's just because, you know, as I've gotten older, you know, the perimenopausal sleep has become a thing. And like, it's like that, it's kryptonite for sleep, right? Like, it just
fucks
kind
you
of
up.
almost no matter who you are.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm like, you know what? I have too many things that I want to do. I'm not willing to. It's not worth it to me to have a couple of drinks and then feel like hell the next day and be like, oh, I'm going to miss a workout, or I'm going to eat crappy now, or I'm going to sit on the couch instead because I feel so crappy from the night before. Like, I just, nope. It's just not part of what I do.
And like for the like, what's the worst thing you do? Anything?
I mean, I still, I will have a free, you know, diet meal every once in a while. Like
Yeah.
every once in a while, we'll, you know, order pizza or have ice cream.
Like
or
what's your
something
pizza?
like
What's your
that.
pizza place?
We will try to find like a new one, because we probably do it maybe once a month, once every other month, something like that. My husband and I will order
Yeah.
something, so we'll try to find newer places and things. But yeah, I still try to keep the food quality high, even if I'm cheating. So it's not like I'm going to Taco Bell drive-through or something like
Yeah,
that, right?
it's not worth
like
it.
yeah. So I still try to keep
Like what's your favorite pizza place here?
let's see,
Or one or two?
we actually really like. Have you had Pomo pizza?
Yeah.
I
It's
love
it's close to our friends had a birthday party. We have some fancy friends. They brought them to their house.
Yeah.
They made pizzas for
Yeah.
everybody. It's close to like kind of how it is in Italy, depending on where you're at.
Yeah, it's not New York style pizza.
It's like a wet,
Yeah.
like a wet pie.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
They have, and then there's other pizza. Like if you got real pizza, there's like, you know, NYPD and like those kind of places
Yeah.
that have like more New York style.
You been to Pizza Virtue?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Pizza Virtue is legit. Pizza
Yeah.
Virtue is like a mile from my house.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
just-
so
we just
yeah,
walk
yeah.
there.
That's like Pomo's exactly like a mile from my
Yeah,
house.
those are both legit. There's a lot of places. What's the other one close by? I could walk to Del Flacco's.
Oh, I haven't tried that one.
It's the whole place is it's been around for a million
Okay.
years. That's like legit. Like that's
Ooh.
Italy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they do everything.
Ooh,
Sandwiches.
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, so
legit.
every once in a while there's like a cheat meal. Like, I'm human, and like I was mentioning too, like my I love food, you know what I mean? And so if and I love, you know, like all the carby stuff. I grew up like, I think it honestly stems from my childhood. Like pizza and popcorn were things from my dad. Like we would have like a movie night, and it was like,
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? It kind of all stems back to that.
Yeah.
And so those are, you know, kind of, I would say some of my favorite, let's call it, you know, cheat meals. Now, when I do it though, I feel like I don't feel good the next day.
Yeah.
I don't do it very often, but I do have the carb hangover. I will retain 3-4 pounds of water weight. It'll take me several days to like get back to where I was before I did the cheat meal. And that's just my genetics. That's my makeup,
Yeah.
right? Someone else can do that and they'd be like, you know, weigh the same the next day, or they gain half a pound or something like that. But it's inflammatory to me, so I'm gaining all this water weight on top
like
of it too.
the better you are
know?
overall, and the older you get too.
Yeah.
It's just everybody. It catches you, and however it catches you at some point.
Yeah.
Like where, I don't
I
want
just
to.
can't do it as often as you know what I mean, as I used to.
No, and like, it's just like.
I don't know. I just like my good, healthy food anyway. Like I you know, I like
Yeah.
what I'm doing on a regular
I don't like to
basis.
be like bloated either, or
Yes.
feel like I'm gonna
Yeah.
shit my pants. I'm not
Yeah.
huge.
Right.
I don't.
Right.
I like to feel like empty. I eat like once a day, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's twice a day would be rare, but most of the time I just eat once a day because I like to be like empty. I
Yeah.
feel better that way. Like I have energy. Like this is fine.
Works for you.
But it is though. Is like what is the? I don't want to crush the place, but it's the. I want to say it's like the crumble cookie place. Like we had that. Like that shit would fuck me up, dude.
Yeah.
You know it's crumble, right?
Yeah.
Another one. I think you said it gave you some bad.
It's one of those. Oh, dude, like my face looks like.
If you look at the ingredients.
Oh my God,
yeah.
bro. Like, and
a lot of yeah.
Like I felt physically like I wake up like my eyes, like I just look like a bag of shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whatever is it? I mean, they taste amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah, I can't eat this.
Yeah.
Like that's on the list of like shit I can't fucking do.
Yeah, like same fast food items. Like it doesn't even like appeal. Like that stuff doesn't even appeal to me anymore. It's so like it's just so gross. That's how I.
And it's weird because like maybe because you're a little bit older than me, like, but you probably grew up. Maybe not. I mean, like the same. Like I didn't eat any real food.
Yeah, totally.
Like
yeah.
dog. Like my
SpaghettiOs, like
yeah.
beef aroni, what? Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah, like my breakfast would be like put a Mountain Dew and some Pop-Tarts in your pocket.
Totally.
And eat that shit the butt
Pop-Tarts.
stop.
Yeah, Pop-Tarts and cereal, breakfast of champions. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like that's what I mean. Like the fact that like
That's how I grew up. Yeah.
I'm not dead
Yeah.
is a miracle.
Totally.
You know
But
what I'm
we
saying?
didn't know. You know what I mean? Like we didn't know anything that we know now.
No, you're eating fucking
Yeah.
Capri Suns and Sunny D, eating
Oh,
Teddy
sure.
Grahams, thinking like you're
Yeah.
having a good snack.
Oreos, Doritos, all the
Trash,
stuff.
dude.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a wild time.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything here on this episode?
I don't think so.
Other than the I guess the last thing, just the gut health piece, real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Since we talked about it, obviously, like since eating like Teddy Grahams and Sunny D is probably not great for your gut health. How much do you talk about people with that, and like what difference
Huge.
does that make, like with these guys? Because I think people sometimes they overlook it.
Yeah.
Like when I talk about like not just the like obviously like AG1s are people, and they have a huge probiotic mix in there, but it's not, to me it's not enough. Like you have to
If you have a problem, that's right. Yeah.
yeah. And I think though, even just eating foods, like if it's like the real, like
Fermented foods.
like Grillo's pickles are my favorite. 'Cause
Yeah,
they're actually real.
Yeah.
I'm not a kimchi person. My wife like loves that shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, but like the real yogurts, like the
Yes.
real
Yeah.
things that some
Yeah.
people, we don't look at that. And that's why I do think like your pre-workout bullshit will always outsell like probiotics for the same fact of like, you can feel that. Like
Right.
you take it, the niacin in your face. It's
Sure.
like it's like you snorted cocaine. Like when you're doing like taking these things, it's not what you do feel, it's what you don't feel.
Sure.
And that's a hard selling point.
Yeah.
So how do you like talk to people about that?
Yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of times we're testing, right? So I have a test in front of them to be like, hey, here's what's going on with your good gut microbiome. Here's what's going on with your imbalances and dysbiosis and or infections. And here's what's going on with your short chain fatty acids, which your good gut bacteria produce. And if they're low, you're usually not giving your gut enough fiber for them to make the short chain fatty acids that are in turn anti-inflammatory. Here's a list of markers that are, look at inflammation in the gut. Here's ones that look at your digestive capacity and so on, right? So we have data, which the data a lot of times makes people more engaged. So they're like, oh, I know this is going wrong, so I, need to fix it essentially, right?
Yeah.
So I'm designing someone's treatment protocol for their gut based off of, the data. Now there are times where, there's some more generalizations and things like, if someone isn't pooping every day, like we can start with some basic things like hydration and fiber and like some magnesium, let's say, right? And then there are a million other things we could add in above and beyond that. But, if we're doing the gut testing, then I'm able to be really specific with, what's going on in their gut health. And here's, a protocol, designed to help with those things specifically.
Do you have a general like fiber count for people too, or no?
The minimum is like I kind of... If you're really not paying attention to fiber, let's say, hey, start tracking number one, like just any of the apps, MyFitnessPal, whatever, like 35 grams, right, is kind of like my...
Dog, people aren't even fucking
Dude, I know.
close to that, dude.
Yeah, I mean...
You're talking like maybe half.
Uh-huh. Oh, I know.
Maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. When people track, they're like, oh, I'm only getting 15 grams. I'm like, yes, yeah, we need to work on that. Something like that. And then obviously, like, if you can push even, higher or more towards 50 or whatever, like that, that's good. But not everyone's, depending on how your gut microbiome is set up, not everyone is going to do well with each individual type of fiber. So that's another thing. You have to kind of see like what types of fibers and in what amounts,
When you can't go from
tolerate.
10 grams to 50 grams in a day.
If
I mean, you can.
Yes, but you will get extreme gas and bloating. You will be sorry.
It's not good.
Yeah, you will be sorry you didn't.
Yeah.
So go slow, like adding 5 grams or so, over time and kind of raising it slowly is the way to go with fiber intake.
And is it basically just like you're like, hey, here's the list of foods I would try, and chia seeds or flax or whatever?
Absolutely. Yeah. And sometimes, we'll add some fiber supplementation, but I really like to try to do it with real food if and when at all possible, right? It's like taking less stuff.
I know. I'm not a fan of, I've done everything. I've probably tried everything in the world at some point, like psyllium husk to whatever. It's not that hard to eat it once you
know what
really
to do.
understand your food.
Exactly. Yeah.
I do like the, you ever had those koyas?
No.
They're like the little plant-based energy. They're not energy drinks. They're just little plant-based protein drinks.
Okay.
They make like a souped-up version now, which is like 30 grams of protein. I like the smaller ones. They're about 18 grams of protein, but they're 7 grams of fiber.
Ooh, sweet.
It's all plant-based protein, but it's like
Yeah.
it's complete protein.
Yeah.
And I want to say it's like pea rice and hemp is probably the mix, and it's like what's the fucking chicory root or whatever it is.
Sure.
Like they'll use those. I think they're 7
Or
grams.
inulin or something.
Yeah,
or,
it's like 7 grams of fiber per. But
Nice.
they don't mess, and the flavors are great, like cinnamon horchata. They have a bunch of
Oh,
them.
cool.
Natural grocers, Sprouts, Whole Foods, typically. But those are that for people who don't like to eat them. Like that's an easy 7 grams
100%.
off the top.
Yeah.
And if you don't like, chia seeds can go in anything.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's the one thing. Like this the one if it's like a food item, if you want to call it that. It's the one thing I travel with
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
because I don't like to not take a shit.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah. It's the thing that helps you.
Yeah. This is all good, dude. This is all good shit. Where do these guys find you at? Website, social media, all the stuff.
Yeah. So my website's dremilyparke.com. So it's DREMILYPARKE.com. On that website, I've got a program called 7 Weeks to Your Healthiest Self. And I also have a supplement shop. And if you're local and you're interested in becoming a patient in the practice, you can also link to the practice website from dremilyparke.com. The practice is called Arizona Wellness Medicine. And all of my socials are just, at my name. So at Dr. Emily Parke.
And what do you do the most on Instagram, probably?
Instagram, probably. Yeah. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Yeah.
TikTok.
No TikTok.
We're on TikTok. Shit sucks, dude. It's weird. Yeah, bro, we crush TikTok. I don't really get it. I don't know how to interact with people. We just really what we do it for is because like we have a team here. So I will do stuff in real time.
Yeah.
And there's a thing you put them on. This is how our social media works. You can take it, and without us being in the same environment or Dropboxing stuff over time, like I can post it on TikTok, and then Monica can take it,
Yeah.
rip it from
Yeah.
there, take the logos off, put on YouTube Shorts, and then code it, tag it, and then
Totally.
can kind of share
Yeah.
that way. I don't understand how it works. I don't understand any of it works. Dude, that's why zero chance, dude. I fucking dance or do anything. That's why nobody watches it.
Oh, amazing.
No, this is all. It's this shirt. Yeah, put my shirt on YouTube. I'm wearing a Shooter McGavin pieces of shit cereal shirt today. Actually, that's the only thing. I mean, I should get way more comments on the T-shirts we wear versus anything else. But
Love it.
hey, man. Yeah, I'll put all your social stuff in the notes below. This is great, dude. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, for the rest of you guys, give her a follow on Instagram. Any questions, obviously hit up the website. If you guys want a free sample of AG1, obviously hit me up. Monica will get it to you. Again, Summer MetCon just wrapped up today. We are kicking off our 34 Days to Fit inside the app. Anytime you guys want to jump in, JeremyScottFitness.app, everything else is in the show notes. But yeah, awesome, dude. I appreciate it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you as always, Sean. And until next
you,
time, you
Sean.
guys eat well, train hard, be nice to people, and please, you guys, keep doing shit you love with people you enjoy because your life is too short not to. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Love it.